What's up everyone and welcome to the round of 32 of the Chesscom Global Championship. I'm your host Grandmaster Benjamin Bach and we are gonna see how Hikaru will fare in his matchup against David Navara. Now the games have not started yet, but as soon as they will, we will pull them up here. But I hope you're all doing well. Make sure to send your man some energy and yeah, we're just gonna have a fun show here. So let's see, yeah, he should be starting any second now. I mean, I'm checking on the Chesscom live stream, but they also have not started yet, so I do expect them to start very soon. But there were some upsets today. For example, Pavel Pankratov beating Nurberg Abdusattorov, as you guys can see here. Ding Loren made it through after a tough match against Yasipenko. But yeah, there were a couple upsets this round. Sam Savian beating MVL. Nihal beating Kramnik. Sarana beating Mamajarov. Jeffrey Zhang beating Grandmaster Benjamin Bach. But yeah, let's see how Hikaru will do. Match should be starting any second now, I think. So let's hopefully they will pull it up soon. Bornik lost in the first round to Jeffrey. Right. Alright. Anyway, let's see how okay, it started off as a Nimzo Indian. But I don't... Okay, here we go. Alright, so... Okay, they started off as a Nimzo. So Hikaru with the white pieces goes 1d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, bishop e4, e3, short castles, and bishop d2. Now he also played this against Andrei Yasipenko in the third leg of the FIDE Grand Prix, for which he qualified to the candidates. Now black here can play the move d5, c5 as well, b6. So let's see what Dave is gonna do. Why no bandana today? I don't know. You guys tell me. Anyway. So let's see what Dave is gonna do. But it's already a good sign for Hikaru that Navara is spending his time here. He was supposed to play the G3 Nimzo, right? I mean, he played the G3 Nimzo against Wesley So in the London Chess Classic in 2018. No, sadly, I lost yesterday in the round of 32 to Jeffrey. So the CGC came to an end for me, but of course we hope that Hikaru will make it through. Thank you, Verdant Wave. Alright, anyway, so let's see what Dave is going to do. He's taking his time here. D5 is a move, C5 as well. B6, of course, also a move, but let's see what he's going to play. Some beats would be nice right now, exactly. Yeah, I mean, in general, I don't think Jeffrey played, let's say, like out of this world, but I was just too slow, and that cost me in the critical moments. Like, he had the time advantage, and he put it to work. Alright, so we see c5 from Navara. Now here the main move is a3, black generally trades and goes knight e4 to try to get the bishop pair back, and white goes knight e2. And we saw this actually in the matchup between Abdusattorov against Gelfand in round number 1. So let's see what Hikaru will do. He's thinking now for a little bit. A3 here is the usual move. Okay, he goes knight f3, also move. Now c takes d4 is logical. Gauri will be joining later on. Okay, knight f3. Now I would think what looks logical to me is taking and perhaps d5 to try to give white an isolated pawn. And I think here, if you want an advantage with white, you have to try to go c5 to keep a pawn clamp on the queen side. But maybe here black can go b6 to try to challenge white's pawns right away. White can go a3, maybe something like knight e4, hitting the bishop. We'll see how the game will proceed. Thank you. Glad you guys like the hair. I think Jeff is improving. Jeffrey is improving. He's getting a lot of opportunities. The St. Louis Chess Club. Also, he played in some online events, but there haven't been a whole lot of over-the-board tournaments, right? For him to boost up his rating. 1 second. Okay, so Hikaru. Alright, anyway, so after knight f3, b6 was played by Navara, bishop d3, bishop b7, a3. Well, I thought a3 was not the move here. I thought white generally castles, but anyway, a3 was played, takes takes, and knight e4, hitting the bishop on c3, but this turns out to be a mistake. Apparently Hikaru can take on c5, and go queen to d6, and this seems awkward to defend. And generally white is not really worried about this trade because you can use the g-file combined with the bishop to attack. So after queen d6, maybe black has to play something like queen b6 to defend here, but actually queen e5 already wins the game. So let's see, I mean, if Hikaru finds this whole sequence of taking and taking on c5 followed by queen to d6, he will have a pretty big advantage. Alright, anyway, so queen e6 on the board, Hikaru finding the right moves. Let's see what is gonna happen here. But yeah, already looking very, very good for Hikaru, because I don't think Dave has a good way of defending the pawn on c5 here. Again, after queen b6, queen e5, you can just resign. And let's say black throws in this first, and then queen b6, I mean here, something like queen g3, right? Hitting this. If you go f6, I go here. If you go rook f7, there's bishop takes f6. And white wins the... Thanks, Agron Goal, for this 20-some months. I mean, if black goes g6, there's always h4. So already looking very, very tough for Dave Navara, who is also down 2 minutes on the clock. So great start for Hikaru here. And what I like to see is that it seems like he did put some serious prep into this match, because when he played Vasquez in round number 1, he played knight f3 followed by b3, and it felt like he was just freestyling a little bit, right? Whereas here, he's putting that opening prep to work. Alright, so let's see what Navara is going to do. But yeah, definitely already a very good start. And also, he's showing that he's alert, right? An opportunity like this arises, and it's very easy to just be like, alright, I'm just going to play rook to c1, and it will be in equal position. But he senses the opportunity, and he takes it. So, again, very, very good start. Okay, Dave trades, but gf, I mean... This looks very scary for black. Alright, so let's see what is going to happen. He goes queen b6. I mean, if white goes queen g3, he already has a very, very big advantage, if not just straight up winning. Because white's attack will be way too strong for black to handle. Alright, but let's see what is going to happen. What's the score? It's 0-0. Alright. Thank you, the great Spanish. Thanks, by the way, to Quan. So apparently this is how it feels to be Hikaru, because I do hear the sounds as well. I don't have a course right now. I might make a course later. This is the best of 32, right? This is you. Stop it, you guys. Okay, so queen g3 looks really good because black cannot hold it together. Can I have... Right, I'll try to do that later. Thanks, Hikaru Spare for 12. Alright, thanks. Alright, second, you guys. Wait 1 second. wait. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, Queen G3 here looks very good. I will try to add an analysis board later, but yeah, let's see. I mean, if he, because like Queen E5 runs into this, and Black is still okay. But again, after Queen G3, it looks really good for White. All right. Wait, give me 1 second. We have some. Shoot, wait. Running some slide. Technical difficulties. Okay, but we should be good now. We should be good. All right. Anyway, so Queen B6 on the board. I'm trying to hack Hikaru's. Very funny, guys. Any sign of the match? All right. So Queen G3. Yeah, again, looks very good. Hikaru taking his time. He hasn't played it yet, but you got to think like, okay, what are the other moves, right? I mean, with Queen G3, you keep the initiative because you create a threat. Well, Bishop E5 is a move. But it's a bit of a pity, right? Because you do allow Dave to play a move like F6, hitting the bishop. And if you take, Black's pawn structure here looks pretty fine. So, thanks Vanguard. So I really like Queen G3 because you create a threat. And how do you keep the initiative? By creating threats, right? Your opponent has to react. Now, if he goes G6, you can already consider H4, H5, and just going for the checkmate. And I think Hikaru is definitely going to go queenside castling. Now, after queenside castling, he also has an advantage. But here, Navara can go into the endgame, and he can go F6, bring the king to the center, defend this pawn, hit the rook, and things aren't as bad. So, but I think if Hikaru is going to go Queen G3, he's just going to win the game. He's just going to win the game. Alright, thanks Luis for the prime. Queen E7, also a good move. Now his idea is that Knight C6 hangs a pawn. And also, let's say Dave plays a move like Rook D8, right? Defending this pawn. Now White has... Well, here White has a very good move that wins on the spot. He has multiple ones that are very good. But let's see if you guys can find it. White to play and win. It literally leads to checkmate. Let's see if you guys can find it. Bishop takes G7. Perfect. Right, and if takes, check and checkmate. So that is his threat, and that is why Dave Navara played the move F6. So you can now go Rook F7 and defend. So Queen E7 still keeps a big advantage for White, but Queen G3 was a little bit better. Now let's see what Hikaru is going to do. To me, queenside castles looks tempting, but I guess Rook F7 will be played, and I mean, you can give a check and go here, and it still looks very good. Especially because Black still gonna play Knight C6 and you're just gonna continue your attack. Alright, so Rook G1 played right away. He's starting a checkmate, so Rook F7 now only move. Because G6 hangs F6. So alright, so Rook to F7 was played, check, and Queen H5. Now let's see what Dave will do. I guess Knight C6 unless... Well, Knight C6 might run into Queen H6. Hitting this, if you go G6, again, we're going to sack. And it gives Rook F7, you take here. Thanks, Kazamania, for the 10 months of Prime. Appreciate it. Alright, so let's see what Dave will do here. Alright, But yeah, very, very good start for Hikaru here, obviously. But give me a second, guys. I'm gonna add the second board very soon. Okay, so Dave goes e5 to close down this diagonal. But now, again, I think long castles looks very good. You're putting pressure on opponent d7. Maybe rook f7 has to be played, defending this and this. So you can then follow it up with knight c6. So overall, I really like Hikaru's position. The one thing is, though, that he is down a little bit on the clock. But it's not a big deal just yet. Oh, wait. Give me a second. We're gonna add in this. And... right, this is a little bit off. We're gonna crop this. Give me a second, guys. Okay, so f4 by Hikaru. Now the point is that if black takes on f4, he has queen at d5 and he wins a rook. So black cannot take, so I expect to move like knight c6 maybe. But that does sacrifice a pawn. Alright, so here we have the live board. Alright, so again, so f4, just to reiterate, if black takes, we go queen d5 with a check and we win the rook on a8, so we win. And the problem here for black is that you would want to play a move, and then it takes knight c6, right, and trap the rook. But the problem is if you go rook f7, now your rook is no longer here. If you go queen e6, then you'll leave the b7 square undefended. And if you go king h8, then you'll leave the rook on f8 undefended. So let's see what Dave Navara will do. He cannot take, so maybe move like knight c6, and you do have to sacrifice this pawn over here. Alright, time's evening up. It's looking better and better. Okay, he goes d6. Defending this pawn also makes a lot of sense. But maybe now, like queen g4. Hitting this, and maybe you can sneak in somehow. Again, it's looking very good. I expect nothing else than a win in this game. Alright, but let's see. Thanks to something is wrong for the prime. Appreciate it. Okay, long castles, also good move. Again, the problem for black is you cannot develop, because you hang this pawn over here. Yeah, he's already crushing this win. Already crushing this game. Alright. Anyway, rook g3 potentially is an idea to double up, but I think if Hikaru gets another move, I think he's already looking at this. Let's have a look. Let's say black goes knight e6, right? Can white take? Black takes. We give it... Well, this does not seem to be the right order. Apparently we take here first. Threatening to take here. And the problem for black is if you take, then you take here with check. Takes. Check. If the king steps back, you have a checkmate. And if you go king up, there's stuff like this, but apparently e4. You threaten checkmate if king e6, check and mate. Not easy to see, but knight at d7 has been played by Dave Navara. A very logical move, bringing the knight to defend. Queen g4, threatening checkmate and the knight. So rook f7 and now queen to e6, and already you cannot defend this pawn over here. I mean, you can knight f8. Can now expect Hikaru to take. Or I'm just gonna take the pawn here. Takes. Yeah, all of that has been played. E takes a4 by Navara, and now rook f6. To me, it looks winning. Thanks, Flanman, for the 3 months for prime. All right, he took an f4. Knight g6. All right, so if you go f5, maybe knight f4, training f4, or knight e5. Yeah, black has finally got his knight into the game, but he did lose a pawn on d6, and also this pawn on c5 is very, very weak. So white should be winning here. White take with the queen. I mean, because his queen was under attack. Right, knight f8 hit the queen. So again, knight g6, f5 hitting the knight. Thanks Macron for the 2 months for prime. Alright, so his idea is that if the knight moves, he wants to take here. Right, because the g-pawn is pinned and white gets a very strong attack. So black either has to go knight f4, threatening this fork over here, or knight e5, right, blocking the diagonal. So let's see what Navara will do. And just to make it clear for you guys, the board here on the right of me is the live board, and the board underneath me, oh no wait, sorry, the board on the right of me is the analysis board, and the board underneath me is the, oh wait, it's not updating. Alright, there we go. Is the board underneath me is the live board, the board on the right of me is the analysis board. This is looking drawish. I mean, he's up a pawn and he has a very good position, so it doesn't look drawish to me. Okay, wait, let me adjust something real quick here. Wait 1 second, because the bars are not the same. Okay, knight f4 was played by David. So he's threatening to fork the king and the rook. Alright, so now... Thanks, Soria. I mean, rook e1 looks very logical. Gauri should be joining later. Alright, so king c2 also move. Rook e1 as well, but I like the rook on the g file, so I think he will go king c2 because you do want to activate your king in the endgame later. Where did you leave your co-host Microwave today? That is a very good question. Well, sadly the microwave died in an accident, so he will not be joining today. Yeah, rook e1, I mean rook d2, king d2 move as well, but you do step in potential checks. So let's see what he's gonna do. But overall, it's looking very good. And if Hikaru wins this first game with white, he has a very good chance of winning the match, because then he can just be solo with the black pieces. David Navara will have to try with white, and that can backfire, All right, so rook e1. Let's see what Dave is gonna do. All right. In the meantime, we also have the matchup between Nepo and Svidler that's going on, and the matchup between Aronian and Madlakov. Yeah, I missed the microwave too. Okay, h5 played by Dave. He's trying to make some look for the king, maybe, try to go after this pawn potentially. And I guess another idea is that if he goes h5, like let's say he grabs this pawn later, his h pawn is already pushed up the board a little bit. So let's see what is going to happen here. Alright, I know a way to fix this. Okay, wait, this is going to be scuffed for a second. Okay, knight h3 by Dave, hitting the pawn on f2. So let's see what Hikaru is gonna do here. Okay, now it should be updating in real time. Can we have okay, knight h3 played, hitting this pawn. To me, bishop e3 looks very good, hitting this, defending this. Then you can follow it up by this, and also. Wait, what just... Okay, and we are back. Sorry about that, you guys. Okay, wait. Okay, so f4 was played. So now the knight over here is really trapped. If white gets a couple moves, maybe here, although there's knight f2, but you do stop the knight from jumping out through g5. So, alright, let's see what is going to happen here. Okay, still, I think bishop e3 looks good. Hikaru having 3 minutes and 47 seconds, Navara 4 minutes. Oh, actually, if Hikaru gets 2 moves, you know what he's gonna do? He's gonna go rook f1, cut out the f2 square, and then rook d3. And the knight is just trapped, so Dave Navara finds the only move. He goes knight f2, so the knight can still jump out through g4, h3, sacrificing the pawn, which I think should be taken. Again, if black is slow, there should be a way to trap the knight. Right, like let's say you go here, maybe rook e2, takes, and rook h2, and the knight should just be getting trapped over here. Although it's still jumping around a little bit, but I guess you go bishop e3, and rook h3, and now it is, there's still this, well, whatever. Anyway, it is looking good for white, but okay, black can take here, which I think he should. So let's see what he's gonna do. Hikaru is playing the match, so we're covering it right here. Alright, so let's see what Navara is gonna do. Hikaru getting the time advantage here, he's up 30 seconds on the clock. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat and we'll just move right along. Alright. So let's see what is going to happen here. Right, Dave getting below 3 minutes. Is this event offline? Yeah, they're playing from their homes, but this is an offline event. Yep, exactly. Alright, so let's see what is... it just looks winning to Hikaru. I don't see how he can defend here. Well, where's Microwave? It died in an accident. How am I doing? I'm doing terrible. I'm doing terrible, but we're here today. You know, we're still out here grinding. Is next weekend the round of 16? Yeah, I believe so. Right. Yeah. Anyway, let's see what's gonna happen. Dave's spending his time here. He probably should take the pawn. It was crushed. Right. Yeah, if he takes maybe rook f1. Maybe rook f1 is clever. I like that move a lot. Yeah, very good suggestion in the chat. Followed by rook to d3. You guys are on form today. Huh. Yeah, it happens. What should you focus to improve your ratings? You're 1200. You know, watch the stream, have a good time, and that you should improve. Alright. Alright, so rook to b8. Played by Navara. Good move. He wants to go rook b3, bring the rook into the game as well. But now Hikaru can play bishop e3. You cannot take here because rook h1 traps the knight. But you can go back to e4. So let's see what is gonna happen. It was my favorite opening for black. I mean, the knight over is really is a great opening. Yeah. Alright, so, well, rook f1, you give black this square, right? Okay, so rook e2 was played. Now, if black takes on h3, I guess he wants to go rook d3, hit the knight, and if knight g1, rook g2, and the knight gets trapped. So black might have to go knight h1, which looks extremely risky. Like, is that knight coming out? But it's not easy, right? Knight g3 is a move, you can back it up with h4. Knight h1 on the board. I mean, if bishop e1, perhaps you go rook b3, hitting this pawn, preparing knight at g3. Not that easy, but of course it should be very good for white. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's see what Hikaru is going to do here. I sadly did not qualify for the round of 16. I lost yesterday to Jeffrey. But despite, you know, all the tears, we're still here today. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not over yet, right? I mean, rook b7 perhaps, hitting this, knight at g3. So let's see what Hikaru is going to do. 1.5 minutes for Dave Navara. Hikaru has a 1 minute advantage, but, you know, the 1 minute advantage can disappear very, very quickly. Jeffrey Zhang. How did I lose? It happens, I know. Yeah, I mean, yesterday it was not a good match, but I mean, it was a good run. You know, defeating Grishuk, qualifying to the main event in the first place. So, all right, so let's see what happened. Hikaru played a rook to d3, cutting out the knight. h4 by Navara, creating this square, but bishop e1. And here, to me, it looks lost, because if white gets another move, he's going to take this pawn over here. The knight cannot get out anymore, so maybe you have to go knight g3. But again, like, if you take everything, you're down 2 pawns in a rook endgame. So It's looking tough for Navara. And Hikaru up a minute on the clock. Yeah, Jeffrey is good. He's like number 12 on Chesscom rapid rating, so it happens. He's done well in the RCC. Okay, so Navara gives up another pawn. He went knight at g3, takes. And again, it's looking tough for black. Okay, rook d7, b3. Hikaru is now going to slowly move up the board. Let's go b3, maybe offer rook trade. Alright, so b3, king f7, maybe rook g2, force the king back. There is increment, yeah, there is a 2-second increment, so it's not like he can just flag Navara here. Okay, so rook h8. So let's see what is gonna happen here. Hello, c9 David. Okay, so rook h8. By the way, Gary should be joining very, very soon. Bug typing, yeah, I'm gonna ban you guys, exactly. Alright, so rook h8 played. He's hitting this potentially rook d3, not a move. Maybe just rook d2. White should be winning. Wait, how do you know my keys are blue right now? Interesting. Anyway, so rook d3. So black can take and take. Okay, he takes here, but now rook e3. And here, black cannot stop the king from coming up. If this king lands on d5, this should be game over. So let's see what Navara is going to do here. Now, I'm not going to ban you guys. Just kidding. It's the sound. Interesting. Okay. Now, the problem for black is if you go rook h1 and rook d1, white is just going to go rook d3. And again, pave the way. So Navara played rook h8, b4, and king c3. And black is just cut off, and Hikaru is going to create a pass on this side of the board. Alright, so rook d4. But let's say you take c6 here, king b4, a5. Okay, I think you do this and king d4, exactly. I mean, c7 is unstoppable. So Hikaru is going to win the first game. Because if rook e5 to c7 anyway, rook h8, c7, and king d5, and Hikaru is just going to win this rook. And you also have a second pawn to push off the board, so yeah, 1-0, it's game over. Right, Dave pushing his pawns, everything is winning here. It's, by the way, not completely over, to be fair. I mean, he can start pushing this one as well, but again, it should be completely winning, like maybe even rook f3. I mean, again, you have to be a little bit careful. So let's see how he will try to close this one out. Yeah, I hacked Hikaru today. It's always good fun. Okay, rook b3 played. Rook b8 is now a threat. So let's see. You have to go like rook c8, but then you lose a lot of time. And again, white is going to push this pawn. Rook c8 played with 1 second on the clock. Alright, king d7 now, or c5. How's black not resigned yet? I mean, he is trying, right? He is pushing these pawns down the board, but you should be too slow, right? Let's have a look. It's not 100%. Well, I think the easiest one is king e5. Yeah, and that's what he's doing. He's bringing the king back, f2, rook b1, and Navara has resigned. So Hikaru wins the first game with the white pieces. And yeah, now Navara will have to try to come back. And yeah, he will probably try to come back in the very next game because you don't wanna stay behind, right? I mean, the next game Navara will have the white pieces, so we'll see what he's gonna do. All right, so yeah, the energy you guys have been sending is paying off. All right, easy clap. All right, welcome. All right, and thanks to Alexandra Samagnova for the raid with 50 people. Thank you. Also, thanks to Electra for the 10 months with Prime. Appreciate all the support, you guys. Anyway, so let's see what is gonna happen. Alright, so yeah, Hikaru wins the first game. Let's see what's happening in the other matches. We have Jan Pomniachtchi against Peter Svidler. This first game ends in a draw, so good result for Svidler, getting a draw with the black pieces. And Levon draws the first game with white against Matlikov. Alright, so next game should be starting very soon. Do I like pizza? Of course. Who doesn't? Alright. Anyway, let's see what is gonna happen. Yeah, there should be a bit of a break now. That's my experience. And yeah, the second game should be starting soon. Can I say the word beats on Hikaru? Yeah, Hikaru beats Navara with the white pieces, right? What is this haircut called? It's a buzz cut. Like pineapple pizza, it's alright, it's alright. Okay, congratulations on hitting 1850. Very good. What's the match format? It's a 4-game match with a time control of 15 minutes plus a 2-second increment. So the first player to reach 2.5 points wins the match. Alright, so if Hikaru gets another win and a draw, he wins. Or if he draws the rest of the games, he also wins the match. So Navara will have to come back, right, if he wants to survive. And of course, he will have the best chances in his white games. So let's see how he will try to do so. Thank you, you Cashin. Oh, you Cashin. Yeah, nice name. Alright, right. Hikaru is not here. I don't know what keyboard he's using. Wait, what's happening? Thanks, Neeks22, for the 22 months and a nice message. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hikaru is trapped 15 minutes in the past. He can return to the present until he wins this match. Exactly. If he loses, he will be trapped in the Shadow Realm. When are they playing? Very soon. I would expect something like 45 on the hour, so in like 5 minutes. When are they playing? Next game should be starting soon. But we are sure he's using his pineapple shirt? Probably, yeah. Alright, so let's see what is gonna happen. Both are fine. Biagari should be joining soon as well. What is my record versus Danya over the board? I believe my record... So Danya and I, we played when we were both 13 years old at the World Under 14 Championship. Danya won that game. Then I believe we played in the Netherlands in 2010. That was a draw. Danya had the white pieces. And then we drew another game in the Netherlands, I believe, in 2011. So he's a +1 score and 2 draws. Hello, for King Rich. All right. Why Hikaru looks like Benjamin? I mean, it just happens, you guys. I mean, I won the first game against Dave Navara, and we're just here chilling, having a good time. And I figured, you know, why not have some fun? You know, shave my hair off, talk like a Dutch guy, and you know, just you know, change it up from time to time. I mean, the good thing is that I don't have that ridiculous microwave in the background because, I mean, quite frankly, I wouldn't be able to stream. It's a best of 4. It's a best of 4. All right. My score against Danya in Blitz Chess, he definitely is a favorite there. But anyway, guys, as we speak, Gauri is joining the stream. Now, guys, before we let him join, Gauri likes singing one song, and that is Over the Rainbow. So make sure to ask him that in the chat, and that will bring good vibes. All right. All right. Hello, Mr. Gauri. How's it going? Hello, can you hear me? Hello? All right. Hello? Okay, awesome. Yeah, welcome to... Yes, I can hear you. All right, awesome. So, yeah, I don't know. Were you able to catch the first game between Navara and Hikaru? Oh, my bad. That is on me. My bad. My bad. Give me 1 second. All right. Can you say? Okay. Can you say something now? Wait, what? It's still. Huh. That's. Okay. Wait a second.
Is it?
Can you say something now? Okay. Wait. You're.
Yes, I am. I am speaking. I am talking.
Are you over the rainbow?
Is it? Yes. My microwave is better than yours.
Exactly. We got the microwave power anyway. We gotta compensate it. All right. So yeah, we are underway. Game number 2 just started. So we have an Italian game here. Do you play this with either color?
Yes, I do play Italian with white and black actually. So it's gonna be very interesting. By the way, Ben, do you have your engine on or off during analysis usually?
I have it on. I'm just an engine Andy here reading out the chat.
Okay.
Of course, I cannot think. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you guys see the micro? It's the hotel microwave. It's not as good. I'm an FM. I'm from Chicago, and nice to meet you guys in the chat.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know Gauri, yeah, actually you were gonna introduce yourself, but then you were still muted. So go again.
Okay, so I'm from Chicago. I'm actually in the middle of a chess tournament, but I made sure that I could make it so I can commentate for you guys and cheer Hikaru on in the CTC against Navara. Yeah, I'm 29 years old. I have 7 IM norms, and my FIDE I'm trying to get 2400 so I can get my IM title. Yeah, eventually I want to be a GM. So, and I've been streaming for 2.5, 3 years now.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So yeah, Gauri is also a streamer, so make sure to give him a follow on his channel. Do not follow me, by the way. But we have Rookie 8 here by Hikaru, so he's going for a very solid setup with Bishop to E6, and I believe he also had this against Hans Niemann in the RCC. That game ended in a draw. So here we have Bishop E6, and here generally white trades on E6, and then continues with either Bishop E2 or Queen C2. I believe I also had some games against Nepo, which I lost, and he has captured and played Queen C2.
Isn't this position considered like a tabia? Is that how you say the word? Like there's so many branching points from... Like this is the position that for the top players, this is like a starting position, even though it's only move 13, and for the regular people, it's like the first. It's a new position, and they probably don't even know it this much. For the GMs, this is like their starting position, and then like, okay, here I begin my analysis of what to do, right?
Yeah.
And then they work out the. So, yeah, this is a pretty a lot of analysis and games from this position. How would you value this position, Ben? Like white slightly better because more space on the queen side. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you named it you named it correctly. Yeah, white has a little bit more space on the queen side, so that gives him a bit of an advantage. Also, this knight on c6, it's developed, but it cannot go anywhere right now, right? It's nicely restricted by this pawn on c3. So very often what black tries to do is sometimes go knight e7 to g6, but then if you put that knight there, then white very often goes g3 and restricts the knight from there. So white has a bit of a space advantage. Sometimes white tries to go for rook b1, maybe connected with b5, but then if white goes rook b1, which we see now by Navara, very often black plays b5 because there's no pressure anymore along the a file, and actually then very often white moves the rook back. So I think white has a very slight advantage, but black is always extremely solid here. So I do expect Hikaru to be fine also because he is up on the clock, so I guess he might have still looked at this in his preparation. Oh, right, let me flip the board.
One thing that worries me about this position for white is that you never know. Suddenly black can start a big attack against the king, right? The rook on e6 could somehow potentially in the future swing to g6, and those knights are coming around. So white has a better position on the queen side, but if white kind of blinks for a second, there could be some stuff happening on the king side, white's king, right? Because that sneaky bishop on e7 is pointing to f2.
Welcome back. Are we here? I think we're back right now. My board, now my right, guys, let me know. I think we're back. Are we back?
Okay. Yay, we're back.
Okay, yeah, that was very stressful because like all of a sudden all of my audio leaves OBS. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, Hikaru should be doing pretty well here, right? He just okay. Can you...
Now they can't hear us. Oh no. Should I join via Discord or Facebook Messenger? Would that be better?
Wait, they can hear you guys, right? They can hear you.
Let me see if I.
Yeah, they can hear you.
I have
you guys.
But it's a bit low. Okay. So maybe
okay.
turn up the desktop.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll turn you up.
Hopefully this is good.
Okay, can you say something?
Yes, I'm right here. The position is, I think it's pretty equal here. Even material. This should be a draw this game. White does have an advanced pawn on b5, but it shouldn't be a big deal.
All right, I think it should be good now. Okay, so yeah, this one is looking pretty equalish. Hikaru up 3 minutes on the clock though. But yeah, let's see.
It's good now. Great. I think this should be a draw. I mean, Navara is a strong player. It was 2700, and he should be able to hold this. You know, how can Hikaru? Is there a way that black can try to squeeze something out here? I mean,
wait, is it still? Piece, but... Is Gary? Okay, Gary's still a little low. Okay, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I am putting my mic as high as possible.
Yeah, no, I just fixed it. All right, so go ahead. What do you think about the position?
So it looks like, yeah, this should be a draw. I wonder if Hikaru can try to win the b5 pawn, but that's not going to be easy. What I think he'll do is he'll try to improve his rook position and probably improve his king position soon. So maybe some rook a2 or some g5, king d7 or something. At the same time, you have to make sure that, you know, white also doesn't get too active. But, or do you think he'll trade the knights, just to make a draw?
Well, I think... Okay, Navara's spending a lot of time here. I mean, to be honest, the position looks equal, right? And the question will be, is this pawn on b5 an asset or a weakness? It can be both, but given the time situation, I think Hikaru is going to play for a win here. I mean, he's up so much time.
That's true.
And Hikaru's always able to create tricks out of nowhere. So Navara needs to be very, very careful here. I mean, if he lets his clock keep ticking down, then I think Hikaru will pose some problems, like out of nowhere.
I see. What do you think his next move is going to be, Navara's?
Good question. I mean, maybe h4 to go g3 and not hang this pawn over here is an option. But I wonder why he's spending so much time. And there he goes, b6. He went all the way from, let's check. Okay, we can't see it here, but he went all the way down to 2 minutes. Hikaru has a 5-minute time advantage.
And there's only 2-second increment, right, Ben?
Yeah, only 2 seconds of increment.
That's not a lot. That is not a lot. When you're under pressure.
But I think it's a Chadok for the 39 months.
Thank you, Chadok.
Do you see his message attached to his subscription?
Yes, notice me, senpai. Hi, Chadok. Chadok is awesome. He's a good. He's a very great video editor. One of the videos he made went viral. It was called Bakamitai Chess. It had like 500,000 views on YouTube.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
There was this meme called Bakamitai Chess, where it's like a Japanese song that's a very dramatic song attached to some chess game where the eval just goes up and down like crazy. I think many people in the chat probably knows about this meme. Yeah,
so knight b5 by Navara. He wanted to go knight at d6 and rook d2 by Hikaru. Nice move stopping this.
Hikaru's really active.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he's gonna pull something out of his hat in this game, right?
Yeah, he's gonna pull something out of his hat indeed. So let's see what Navara...
Can we do something? Can we make a chant? Can we go? I believe.
I believe.
I believe. We believe.
I believe.
Right? Let's go.
Okay, you lead the way. You're a good musician / singer, so you lead the way. I'll follow along. So you say like I believe. Okay, go ahead.
We believe that we can win. I believe that Hikaru can win. I believe. Yeah, absolutely. I think he has some chances, even though it's already slightly better for black, right? The rook's on the 7th rank, the knight's on f4, and I feel like there could be some potential fork traps or pressure on the b pawn. And what's probably going to happen is Navara's going to get down to like under 30 seconds and he's going to start to blunder something, right? That would be the ideal situation for Hikaru here.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So he needs to put some more pressure, get the time a bit lower, and see.
Right, yeah, I think like something like knight at d5 would be a big mistake for 2 reasons, actually. Here, white wants to go knight e4 to c5, or actually also to d6 here, so you allow white an instant draw. But white could also, let's say, trade and rook c1, and it looks like black's winning a pawn, but white gives a check first, and then rook c7 and wins back the f7 pawn. So knight c3, I like this move a lot because he's taking away the c5 square, and again, he's keeping the pressure on Navara. And we were talking about this earlier, right? I think the pawn on b6 is now a weakness, right? If we can bring in the king.
So Hikaru just played knight e6, right? Correct? You're in the same move and rook a1 played.
Rook a1, so if rook b2, I guess Navara wants knight d5? If rook b5, what?
Rook a1 seems a little bit, I don't know. Is it a bit sus? But he didn't want to be passive all the game.
I think so, yeah. Apparently here you still have rook d1, which looks a bit passive, right? But I mean, the knight on d5 stands very nice. So Hikaru could also go, rook to d6 to hit the pawn this way, forcing white to go rook b1. And okay, he just played rook to b2. Now I guess knight d5 is the only move, right? Otherwise you're just going to lose the pawn.
Yeah, so he's going to play knight d5, protecting the b pawn. And so both knights are going to protect each pawn, each side's pawn. And then the rooks are going to attack those pawns as well. So is there going to be some sort of a stalemate or a standstill where they're both attacking pawns and defending pawns? with the same pieces, right? Like knights protecting and then rooks attacking.
It's a good question, yeah. But yeah, I think Hikaru's gonna go rook b5 here, forcing rook to d1. And then we have to think, right? Like, how do we improve our position here? We can go king f8. But the problem is if white goes g4, we cannot go king e8. Because if we go king e8, white has knight c7 and wins the game. Because if we take, we cannot stop this pawn anymore. So the question really becomes like how we are going to improve. Maybe knight c5 to a4, but I don't know, I'm not too thrilled about that either. Gary should be fine now, right?
Yeah, I should be okay, right? Making sure. By the way, guys, if you have any questions about the game, any questions at all, feel free to ask. I believe there are no such thing as any stupid questions, you know? If one person in the chat has a question, usually 10 other people have the same question, right? So don't be shy to ask questions regarding chess or even any other questions too, really. And I'll try to pick, you know, good questions and address it in the chat.
Right, yeah. No, that's a very good point indeed.
Bad question.
Exactly.
That's what my high school
don't be
teacher said
shy.
at least. You know, this
Exactly.
If you have a question, everyone else in class probably has the same question.
Right, yeah. So let's see how to play chess. That's the first question we get. How do I beat Martin?
The horsey moves like a L shape.
Exactly, yeah. Are you guys talking about Martin, the 250 bot at Chesscom? I mean, if you guys cannot beat Martin, I'm sorry. Okay, now, okay, never mind. There's no super questions. Okay, king e8. Yeah, this knight is in a bit of a pickle. I think, I mean, look at the time. 3:46 for Hikaru, 17 seconds for Navara.
Oh my goodness.
This is wait. He just blundered the game. Rook d8, it's game over.
Wait, hold on. Oh. I believe. Rook d8.
I believe.
Rook d8. Rook d8. Yeah, there it is. We believe. Yeah. It's here. It's here. Oh my goodness, it was a knight trap.
And Baker says
king d7.
Exactly. This is game over. You have to give up the knight, but there's no way. Knight c5 wins on the spot, by the way. You hit the rook, rook b8, and you win the pawn. Right? That's it. That's it.
This was predicted that when Navara goes down under 30 seconds, there's gonna be a blunder, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, no, you cannot do that. Yeah, if your opponent still has 3.5 minutes and you have 10 seconds, then you're just gonna lose the game. So very tough loss. But yeah, Hikaru's gonna win here. He's just gonna pick up this pawn, and with a full knight advantage, there's no doubt in my mind that it's gonna be 2-0. Yeah. So he will only need one more draw to advance to the last 16.
Yes. Oh, thank you, Fishhead. So I think there is a. I think John said that. John Bartholomew said that you use your clock as a weapon, right? The time could be a piece or a few pawns. Do you think that a time advantage is worth a piece, Ben?
Not a piece, because let's say Hikaru had 4 seconds here and Navara had 3.5 minutes. I'm still pretty sure he would win the game. But you know, before it was definitely worth a pawn, let's say, right? Or I mean, well, I wouldn't say it's worth that piece, but it gives you that advantage. That's definitely for sure. So it's how would they put it? It's the 33rd piece on the board, something like that.
Wow. Okay. By the way, Ben, should we show everyone the game, because there was a couple of interruptions? I feel like it'd be good to make up for our technical issue, just to recap the game. Do we have time for that? Do you guys want to see the full game again? Just really quickly.
For sure. Yeah. So rook e1 was played. Castles h3, h6. Then b2, rook e8. So bishop e6 takes. Queen c2. So we left off, I think, right here, right? Like knight g6 was the last move we caught.
Yes.
Now knight c4 played by Navara. And I like what Hikaru did here. He captured and now played d5, going for space in the center.
Break, right? To get in this.
Right, and now all of a sudden I feel like white's pawns are kind of weak. What do you think, Gary?
D3 and b5. Yeah, I think so. D3 is especially like an annoying pawn. And even b5, sure, absolutely. What does white have in return for that, right? I'm not even sure.
Yeah, so he played knight c4, queen d5, and look at the clock, by the way. Already he is up almost 5 minutes here.
Yeah.
Queen d5. Now I suspect that Hikaru probably was fine with a draw. I mean, he's leading in the match. If he gets a draw with the black pieces, that's a perfectly fine result. So Navara went bishop e3, e4, following that same strategy, trading down the pieces.
Wow.
And
by the way, guys, do you see how playing in the center is such a good strategy? For many people, many amateurs, they forget to do this. When they don't have a plan, they just kind of start playing kind of weird. They put the knight on the side, or they start playing weird moves with the pawn. But usually, if you're ever stuck for a plan like this, just try to prepare some sort of central pawn break or some sort of central action, right? So that when things get opened up, you're ready to go. Like all your pieces, Hikaru's pieces, and the rook's in the middle, the knight's in the middle, the queen's like on c4. That's a really good spot, right? Even the knight on g6 is ready to get an action, and the rook on a8 could also get an action. So it seems like Hikaru first prepared his pieces in the middle, and then he played d5 and e4 when the time was right. And it seemed like that was perfectly timed. And I think grandmasters are really good at this, timing their pawn breaks effectively once their pieces are in the center, right?
yeah, no, I think you make a great point there, because I hear this a lot from low-rated players that, you know, they develop all of their pieces and then they're like, okay, now what? Right? I bring everything into the game. What do I do now? But I think a central pawn break, as you mentioned, generally is a very good way forward. And that's exactly what Hikaru did here. All his pieces are placed in the center. And that's why he eventually was able to get the advantage in this game. Now here was looking, I think Navara kind of lost the game here, right? After knight f4, if we look at the clock situation, he has 4.5 minutes. Hikaru has 7 minutes and 20 seconds. So he's down almost 3 minutes, which is not the end of the world. But here he spends 2.5 minutes on the move b6, giving Hikaru a 5-minute advantage. And he wasn't quite able to recover from that.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, well played by Hikaru. He kept the pressure on the clock, used the clock as a weapon. Not literally, but he did. Should we look at some other games? Maybe there's the Swidler Nepo, our World Championship candidate winner Nepo.
Yeah, so this one is still in full swing, but I think it's going to be a draw, right? Eventually, like black can take here, then take on g3, and white can play king f3 first, hitting the rook and defending this pawn, and white's going to take here, and it is just going to be a draw. So this match is looking very close, because the first game also ended in a draw. Also, the matchup between Levon and Madlikov is still tied. So those are very close, right? Right now it's looking like Hikaru's match is going to be a pretty one-sided affair, to be honest. He's up 2-0, and he only needs to draw with the white pieces in the next game.
Right. Yeah. Do you think he'll play for, I mean, he'll play not for a draw, but choose something that's very solid and force Navara to play hyper-aggressive, and then maybe Navara might lose? That could be a situation that happens a lot, right? When the person is desperate for a win, they take undue risks, especially in the opening, and then end up losing, right?
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly what he's going to do. And I was in that same situation yesterday against Jeffrey. I had to win with the black pieces. And at some point in the opening, we had a repetition, which I just couldn't take. Because if I take the repetition, I lose the match. So I had to play an inferior move. Then it was slightly worse. And Jeffrey never gave me any chances, really. So that is really the nice thing that Hikaru has. But I think, yeah, as you mentioned, he's just going to play a solid game. And Navara will have to do the work. I mean, he has a near impossible task, in my opinion.
Right. By the way, Ben, do you know how to sing the song called The September by Earth, Wind, and Fire? Just kidding. It is still September.
Na, 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 party in September. Na, na, na. Party. Na, na. Well, how exactly? You're the great singer here. Do you remember? Na, 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 na.
Do
September.
you remember the 21st night of September? Right, that one.
Go ahead. Keep going.
No, I can't.
Keep going.
I don't know the words after that actually, because it's kind of.
Chat. Do we want Gary to sing?
We need you guys to put the lyrics in the chat so we can. Okay, that's enough. So are there any other games going on that we could watch? So Nepo game is still going on, I suppose, right? or did they agree to? They already agreed to a draw. Yeah, sorry.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, this game also ends in a draw. So just to recap real quick, Hikaru has a 2-0 lead over Navara. He only needs one more draw in the next 2 games, so it's looking very, very good. And Levan Aronian and Maxim Madlikov are tied 1-1.
Okay.
And the same goes for Jan Pomniachtchi and Peter Svidler.
Okay, so Hikaru with a really comfortable lead. Everyone else seems to be tied. That's a bit surprising. That everyone else is tied with 2 draws. And when do you think the next game will start, Ben?
That is a very good question. I believe in 5-ish minutes. I mean, that was my experience playing in the CGC. You know, there was a little bit of a break. Okay. But yeah, given the situation, I mean, I guess Hikaru must be over the rainbow right now, right? Having a 2-0 lead.
Actually, Ben, I have a question. So between games, what do you think the best way to... What do you think Hikaru is doing right now to, like, in between the game to prepare himself? Just drinking some water or, you know, resting his eyes? What would you do, and what do you think is the best way to prepare in between games?
I think he's just gonna chill for a little bit, like I said, drink some water, rest his eyes, that kind of thing. I don't think he's gonna prepare too much because Navara is gonna do something unexpected anyway, right? Because he has to win with the black pieces. So you just have to be ready to face something unexpected, like, I don't know, the Dutch or the Modern. But the problem for Navara is that Hikaru always plays those openings himself with black if he wants to win. So Hikaru definitely must know the recipe to take this thing out of those unorthodox openings.
Okay, so he's not going to prepare any opening because it could be Navara could hit him with anything, pretty much.
Exactly, yeah.
So there's no point in wasting your energy on predicting something. So really just taking a small break and doing nothing.
Right, he will have a thought, of course, as to how he can restrain Navara the best, right, in his options. Like, how can I make sure that he doesn't get a game? Right?
Right.
Just
what does that mean exactly? Doesn't get a game. Can you explain to everybody? Because GMs are really good at shutting down the game, right? Like you said. What does that actually mean?
Yeah, that's a very good point. So he will have to think like, okay, am I going to go e4 or d4? Now, I think he will go d4. I mean, if he goes e4, Navara can go for any sort of Sicilian, you know, try to complicate the game, or maybe a Caro-Kann. So I do expect him to go d4. Now, Navara played the Nimzo in the game they had earlier, and maybe what he will do is some line like, let's say, the Queen c2 Nimzo.
Queen c2, Red Capablanca.
Right, it's a line I play a lot with the white pieces, and perhaps this will give him the tools to not really allow Navara to get a game, so to speak, right? So he could go for something forcing, right, like e4, if that makes sense.
That's one way, but from my view, I thought that maybe not getting a game is having very few imbalances, or at least like everything's kind of the same. Let's say if somebody's pawn structure is damaged, but then I have the 2 bishops, that's still an imbalance, right? That could be a game. But if everything's kind of similar, symmetrical, not much imbalance, then it's more likely to be a draw. Is that right?
Yeah, that's a very good point. So something else that he could do would be, let's say, a Catalan, right, which is generally very dry, very symmetrical. So he will do probably something along those lines too, to keep the game dry, I expect. But yeah, we're gonna find out very, very soon. Now, a good example also would be, let's say, you know, Navara, let's say he plays the Berlin, right, which is very unlikely. Now, when you're in a combative mood, you play a move like d3, you keep all the pieces on the board. But here, when Hikaru needs to draw, he's just gonna go, let's say, for this line, right, just force the draw right away, which is always the tough part for black, is that there are certain openings which you simply cannot play.
Right. Absolutely. So there's no way Navara is going to play Berlin.
Yeah.
So if Hikaru plays e4, I think Navara might play Caro-Kann or Sicilian.
Yeah, for sure.
If Hikaru plays d4, I think Navara is going to open with knight f6 and then see how it goes. Although I don't know his repertoire with black.
Yeah, it's going to be very tough. I don't think he has any King's Indian or anything of that nature in his repertoire. But even then, right, like, even if you play the King's Indian, like, what are you going to play? Because if you have let's say this position, if you play e5, why just gonna trade? Why just gonna trade everything down? And, you know, wish you good luck. I think there's lines like this,
Oh, that
by knight
the
d5.
exchange variation, right.
Yeah. And you're just never gonna win here.
To avoid some drawish line, you have to play something really not as optimal, like knight bd7 before e5, for example, which is not considered to be the best move, right?
Yeah.
For example.
I think one of these lines is probably your best bet, right? You have to try to keep pieces on the board, keep the game complicated. Now, for example, yesterday when I played Jeffrey, I played knight a6, and we got to this position. He took, and then went castles. And I played queen e7, which is the main move. But the problem is he went knight d5 and went queen d8, and he just went back. And it's like, what am I supposed to do? Right, like queen e7 is a repetition. I played the move c6, but after c5, he was better. So again, it just shows how difficult it is if you're in a must-win situation with black. So let's see how Navara will tackle this this challenge.
And if you guys have any questions in the chat, feel free to put it. We'll take the best questions for sure.
All right. Yeah. So let's see what is gonna happen. Yeah,
We're still waiting on the games.
Should be starting very soon. But what do you guys think? In the matches between Nepo and Svidler and Aronian and Medlakov, are the favorites, Nepo and Aronian, are they going to pull through? Or are we potentially in for an upset here? What do you guys think?
To me, it seems like the favorites. Aronian is very strong. I mean, maybe slightly different league than Medlakov. So I feel like Aronian should pull through. And Nepo is very good at blitz, and it's a very fast player anyway. As we saw from the candidates, he plays really quickly. So yeah, they're definitely the favorites. Svidler's a great guy, but yeah, it's high favorite.
Yeah, no, I would be surprised if they don't pull through, but you never know, right? And as we speak, Game 3 should be getting underway very, very soon. I expect around the half-hour mark, right? So like 3 minutes.
Okay, maybe 3 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. What's my favorite planet? I think it's Earth.
But then what are the first two?
First two planets?
Yeah, someone asked, what's your favorite planet? I thought I heard the third for some reason.
I'm playing a chess tournament. I'm in the middle of a chess tournament, so I'm at the hotel that it's in Naperville, Illinois. It's like a suburb of Chicago. I mean, it's near Chicago, like 40 minutes from Chicago. Oh,
and by the way, look at this. I called it. He goes for the Queen C2 Nimzo. Now let's see what Navara is.
Okay. One sec. I'm refreshing so I can see.
D5.
Queen C2 was played. We predicted this, right?
Exactly, yeah. So D5 by Navara. Now, I expect him to go A3. I've also had some games here against Hikaru. So, yeah, I think he'll go A3 and try to shut it down this way. Because if you go CD, this can get pretty sharp. There are some lines like if you go bishop G5, black can go for lines with G5 later. So I don't think that's what he wants to do. So I think he will go A3. They'll keep it more controlled. And that's what you want.
D5, very solid, right? But Hikaru probably doesn't mind this, but that was probably the only way to... the only thing that Navara knew. I'm not sure.
So he took first. No, I can definitely not beat FM Gowrie every game in the Bomb Cloud, because I believe you're pretty good in Blitz and Bullet, right? And I mean, especially in the classical game, I think I'm just gonna lose.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
Okay, so in the meantime, Hikaru captured on d5 and played pawn a3. Now, I think black generally takes on c3, you recapture, and maybe like knight e4, and black can get some initiative here. Right, like queen back.
Yeah, I'm a bit curious about the choice, right? With the a3.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it, to be quite honest with you. I thought he should go a3 here. I mean, that's what I do, and also I think it's very difficult for black to do anything. What black might have to do is go for something like c5, but this is generally quite dubious.
Right. because you know we teach our students, like, you know, don't move. You try to develop your pieces, minor pieces, you know, faster in the opening. Don't delay too much. But if black doesn't do anything right now to take advantage of that, so basically, there's a saying that I made for the kids that I teach. I teach a lot of little kids. It's like castling is like putting on your pants when you're getting ready for the day. So you had to castle, you know. You can't go on too long without castling.
Right.
So definitely need to put on some pants soon. Both players, right?
Right.
You can't hang out too long.
Yeah, that is actually a very, very good point. And black is ready to castle on the next move. And that is generally one of white's struggles in the queen c2 nimzo. So that if you look at the first couple of moves, right? White goes d4, black goes knight f6, c4, e6. So black, on his first couple of moves, brings out the knight, brings out the bishop, and then can castle on the next move. White has only made moves on the queen side. And then very often after this, you're going to go bishop g5. And only after that, you're going to think about e3, knight f3, and bishop e2. But given the fact that the center is pretty close right now, it's difficult for black to do anything with his lead in development. Someone is saying I would pay for singing lessons with Gary.
I feel like Hikaru is gonna just develop without any problems, because at some point black should have played like knight e4. I'm not really sure, or c5 really quickly, right? Knight e4, c5 hit the center, which didn't happen. So I think now white will just develop without much interruption, probably.
Right. He played bishop f4, hitting this pawn, and now Navara has to make a decision. I think c6 looks too slow to me. I mean,
c5
given the
is aggressive.
Right, but I think white takes it maybe with the queen and stops you from castling, right? Like if you go here, go here, maybe he just has to castle, right? Again, like taking this pawn over here, as you mentioned, is tricky because you're underdeveloped. Like if you take, I think black will take, go rook c8 followed by rook c2, and black has pretty much what he wants, right, in the must-win game. Like his pieces are getting active, and I think he's just better here.
And here's the conundrum playing against Hikaru, because Hikaru is so good at tactics and calculating fast moves. If you try to complicate the position, it may not work just for the sake of complicating it.
Right.
He's just gonna find all the right moves and win even faster. So versus some players, you know, they're very positional and solid. You can complicate the game, sacrifice a pawn just for the sake of it, even if it's objectively not that great. But here Navara doesn't, you know, his pawn sacrifice looks a bit dubious if he has to make some play. So he's in a, you know, between a rook and a hard place right now.
Yeah, okay, so he does castle. Yeah, good move. Now, again, thing with the bishop also looks tricky to me. I think you just move your queen out of the way, followed by rook to c8, and you're just so underdeveloped. So maybe Hikaru just has to play e3, right? If he gets the knight out, if he gets the bishop out, I think if anyone is better, it might be white, because he has the two bishops.
Right.
So, again, Navara has to do something quickly. He goes for f3.
Whoa.
Now,
was that a mouse slip, or is that...
I don't... h5? Here's the thing. Like, he wanted to stop knight e4.
Ah, okay.
But, in my opinion, he was kind of pushing his luck, right? I mean, he's really asking black to do something like c5, right? If you take, there's d4, and black gets a great initiative. Thanks, Brandon Jacobson, for the 1 year.
Hi, Brando. How you doing?
You take with the queen, and knight c6 followed by rook to c8. So I felt like he was really pushing his luck, but Navara just played h5 instantly. But after e3, I think here white gets what he wants, right? He controls the squares. He's going to develop later on, and he just has the two bishops, and it should be a bit better.
I was a bit surprised by how quickly Navara played h5 after f3, right? Because I would be a little shocked. And it seems like he was expecting it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess he just figured like, okay, what do I do if black makes an empty move and doesn't go c5, and he figured, okay, I'll go e3, develop my knight. But yeah, I don't understand h5 at all. I think Navara missed a real opportunity to go c5 and complicate the game.
Didn't the bar go down when he played f3, or was it just too quick so we couldn't really see? It felt like it went down, the eval bar.
Right, yeah. When he played f3, yeah, Black had the opportunity to strike with c5, and that's what you have to do, right? You have the lead in development. You just have to open up the game here. And it looks tough for white. Again, like if you take with the queen, knight c6, followed by rook to c8. I really like Black's position. And if you take with the pawn, d4, knight c6, knight d5, rook e8.
Definitely no pass in this variation.
Right, how are you getting your pieces out? And now he goes e3 and queen e7. And in my opinion, he's sacrificing this pawn on c7 in a very odd way, to be honest. But you don't even have to take it. You can also just go knight e2 and develop.
So Hikaru could just take on c7 with the queen, which would result in a queen trade. And then could he bring his bishop back to a5 and c3 if and just like, doesn't it feel like a billiard, like you're hitting your bishop off the cushion on a5, kind of like a billiard ball?
Yeah, let's have a look.
Bishop a5. Yeah.
Right, so let's say Black takes and goes rook to c8. Yeah, I like your idea. I think bishop a5 is great, and bishop c3, because now you kind of trap the rook if you get a couple moves. But most importantly, I don't see a single way for Black to create additional threats. Like knight e4 is out of the question. How can you bring this knight in? And I think White can maybe go like knight e2 and rook c1 to take the sting out of Black's initiative. So let's see whether Hikaru will take. I think if he will, Navara has to go knight d7, right? Keep the queens on the board and try to use his lead in development that way.
But can Hikaru play queen d6 just to harass the queen? And there could be not a repetition, because I guess queen d6, queen d8, right? And then queen d7, queen e8 then, right? So there's no repetition probably.
I like that idea, yeah. I think if Black is forced to go queen e8, then he's kind of passive. But the drawback here is that if Black takes and goes rook f c8, he's kind of gained the move, right? In knight bd7. Like if White does this, and bishop c3, there's knight b6. And here Black's initiative comes pretty fast.
I see. That rook on c2 is starting to get annoying now.
Right. And by the way, as we speak, also shout out to Chess Weeb in the chat. Dennis Borosh. He was asking how Hikaru is doing. Hikaru is doing very well. He's up 2-0, so he only needs to draw in this game to win the match. But yeah, he doesn't even have to take here. I mean, something like 92 also looks good for White. All right. How do you? Very funny, you guys. Very funny. So rook c1 was played, hitting this pawn. Now I guess Navara will just sacrifice the pawn again, right? With knight b7.
I think the game situation definitely affected Hikaru's move here. He probably would have taken on c7 if the score was tied or he really needed to win. But since he just needs to draw, I think that's affected his decision here. It feels like.
Right. For sure. So let's see. I think maybe in case Black goes here, maybe he wants to go queen b4, right? Offer the queen trade and maybe take with the rook on c7. So Navara could of course play. He goes rook c8, so he wants to go c5 is my guess.
Okay, so c5 is definitely. Well, right now it's not really a threat, right? Only after knight d7 and then c5. So could he just trade bishops with bishop d3? Is that an okay move? Or
yeah, I think to me that looks pretty decent, right? To go bishop d3, get this trading, because now you get very easy development. You only need 92 in short castles. So all of your development problems are solved here. Because otherwise, like, the knight and the bishop are kind of stepping on each other's toes, right? If you go knight e2, my problem is that if you go, let's say, knight here, and now bishop e2, like, you lack a good square for your knight.
There is a spicy idea of playing h3 and g4, which is, you know, again, situation of the match. You know, Hikaru might have done h3, g4 if he needs to win. He might still do it, actually. So it's like, you can play it safe with bishop d3, or he can try that crazy h3, the extra spicy move, h3, g4. Makes a lot of sense, actually, right?
Right, yeah. But yeah, I think the
But
drawback is that if we go for that, I think black is going for a very quick c5, and I would want to avoid this, to be honest, with white. And I don't know, like Hikaru seems a bit hesitant in this game, right? I mean, he didn't capture this pawn. He's also now 2.5 minutes behind on the clock, so there's also some, you know, sort of psychological pressure on him, in the sense that he only needs to draw, so he's kind of hesitating, right? Like, does he just want to play normal chess, or does he want to keep it very solid? And I feel like that's where he's struggling right now. Hikaru's on 2
because
points.
you can see that on the time usage. Hikaru is uncharacteristically down on the clock, and I think it's because he's debating between, should I go for my normal aggressive style, or should I keep it solid? And there's a pull here. There's tug of war internally, and he chooses the solid way.
Right. Yeah, so bishop d3, very logical. Now I think black will take and go knight bd7. And black is completely fine here, I think, but nothing more than that. Right? I mean, white has good development. So we'll see how Navara will try to create some chances here. I think what black needs to do, I think like knight bd7 is a good start. We go knight e2, although there's also something to be said for knight h3. Then I guess sooner or later you have to play c6. And I think what you might want to try is go a5, a4. So then you can establish your knight on c4, but it's difficult, right? I mean, white can go bishop g5, knight g3, e4. So again, I'm curious to see what Navara is going to do here to try to complicate the game. C5.
Wow, okay. Makes sense. Although, what if white literally does nothing here and just castles? And then c4, I have queen f5, right? Or something like that?
Yeah, I think he might have to try to go c4 to complicate the game, but it could really backfire, right? Like queen f5 is a move.
Queen d2.
Queen d2 played, or
maybe better than
just, let's say, knight c3, putting pressure on d5, bishop g5, bring a rook to e1 and e4, and I don't know, now I think Navara could regret the move h5, and I think the position is really going to play itself here. It's looking really tough here for Navara. Goes b5.
By the way, Ben, do you think that the bishop and knight are generally better than knight and knight? Because Hikaru has a bishop and knight here, right? Or is it depends on the position? Obviously, that's a common answer. It always depends on the position. But generally speaking, I think generally speaking, it's better, bishop and knight.
Yeah, it's a very good question. I've thought about it, and I think so too, right? Because here the knights are kind of doing the same job, whereas white's bishop and the knight are doing two different jobs, so to speak, right?
Yes.
This bishop is controlling a lot of important dark squares. This knight over here can put pressure on this pawn. On this pawn is also controlling the e4 break. Whereas, again, these knights are stepping on each other's toes. So, generally, I think, of course, like you said, it depends on the position. But if you take, let's say, 100 positions, then in, let's say, 60 of them or so, the knight and the bishop are going to be better than the two knights.
Okay. 60,
if that makes
60%?
sense. Or 60, 65, something along those lines, I would think. I don't know, what do you think?
Maybe, yeah, I agree with that. Slightly better, definitely. Depends on the pawn structure mainly, but generally, it's good to have some general rules of thumb to guide your decision making.
Yeah, and then of course there's also the two bishop advantage, which I think gives you an advantage in a large position, a large amount of positions, probably like
90%.
Yeah, probably like 90% indeed. Because with the two bishops, you control both color complexes. That's always the key. Okay, Navara going all out on the queen side. I think Hikaru is going to be very tempted to go rook ce1 and e4, but you know, if you do that, you do have to reckon with moves like c3, and the move e4 in itself doesn't do that much, right? You don't want to take here. e5 though is a move, potentially taking here, but that also closes the king side a little bit. So he goes for rook fe1, restraining black's efforts on the queen side a little bit.
I have this theory, Ben, that the side with the more central pawns usually, again, general rule again. Here, white has two center pawns, and black has one, and he's preparing to play e4. And if the e pawn, if black ever takes on e4, white will have 2 versus nothing, right? And it's kind of like this snow plow, you know, you're just plowing through the middle there, just bulldozing, I guess, right? This bulldozer center. Positionally, the side with the more pawns near the center, usually better, right? And I think that's what Hikaru is trying to do here, playing that e4 and then bulldoze through the center and then chase away the knights. And then once the knights go away, then use the f pawn as a battering ram to attack the king side. So like e4, and if black doesn't take, then e5, and then f4, f5, f6 even, right? It's gonna be super dangerous. You probably don't even need f4 because after e5, the h pawn is also hanging. So there's a lot of issues for Navara, I think, and it's starting to. Now we're gonna see this, I guess, the snowball effect of e4 hitting something, and then it's another thing that it defends another thing. Yeah, so now he has 2 center pawns versus these 2 center pawns look way more dangerous than Navara's pawns.
Right. Yeah, the pawns and queens aren't really doing too much, and yeah, Hikaru also stepping up the pace. We saw earlier how he was down 2.5 minutes, but after queen b6, he played e4 instantly. Takes b4. But I wonder how Navara is going to deal with a move like knight f5, right? First of all, bring the knight closer to the king, but also you're threatening a little fork here with knight e7. And the problem is, if you move this rook, then this pawn will also always be hanging. So, to me, it's looking tough. And someone's asking, is the 3-0 result the difference between a Super GM and a GM? Well, clearly we see the difference here between a player like Hikaru and Navara, but I wouldn't necessarily put it that way. I think it's also the whole dynamic of a match, right? Hikaru won the first game with the white pieces. Then in the second game, Navara feels like he has to win, and at some point he declines a repetition, right? Or maybe he spent too long thinking, trying to find chances. I think that also definitely plays a role, and that's how the score in a match like this can easily get out of hand.
Okay, Hikaru just took the knight. I think it's actually to clear up the queen to come to g5 at some point as well, right? Now the queen can swing over very quickly. Perhaps.
Right, and I think Navara is in trouble because his knight is under attack. And if you move it, I think white is just very happy to take here. I mean, you're up a pawn in a game where you only need a draw. So good luck to Navara. Maybe he has to go for knight g4 with the idea that if white takes here, there's knight e5, or you cannot take. But it looks so loose, this knight in g4. I mean, king h1, just like preparing h3
just
also
king
this
h1.
knight.
Yeah, king h1 is a good move to make just to avoid that pin, tucking your king away. Absolutely.
Alright, so let's see what Navara is gonna do here. But yeah, Hikaru definitely showing his strength here. I mean, there's no doubt, I think, in anyone's mind that he is one of the main favorites to win it all in this tournament, right? I mean, Magnus is not playing, so then you're looking at Hikaru, right? Like, I mean, my 2 favorites for this event are Nepo and Hikaru, right? What are yours? Someone is saying, by the way, I was never entertained by a vampire before Bach. Very interesting comment there in the chat.
I don't know what that means.
But, okay, anyway, we do have knight g4, threatening knight takes e5. I really like
the energy in the chat. Thanks so much for being here, everybody, and hope you're having a great Saturday. Really good energy in the chat. Like, 99% of chat is amazing. That definitely outweighs the 1%.
Yeah, no, I think he was just trolling. So it's all good. It's all good. We're just messing here with you guys. But do know that, hey, if we want, we can bring out that ban hammer. Anyway, let's see what Hikaru is gonna do here. I expect king h1. Again, you make sure you never can get checked. You also get rid of this knight takes c5 trick. Then if you get h3. And how does black even defend the pawn on c4? Because rook c8 runs into knight d6 with the fork.
Ooh.
Right, so
wait,
what do you...
Wait, something just happened to the eval bar. What happened?
He played queen g5, threatening checkmate.
Oh, is it because the d4 pawn is hanging after g6? Oh no, what just happened?
Wait, what do you do? Huh? Wait, what do you do after g6? Huh.
Okay, h3. I think this is what he calculated. Hold on. Oh, knight takes pawn. Oh my goodness.
Yes. Wait, what does he
But
want?
then there's knight
The knight h6, king h7. Hikaru will join for an interview later. Wait, what does he? Maybe he saw a forced draw. That's my only.
Yeah, there might be a forced draw here, but
I don't see. Wait, so let's see. Like knight h6, I think king h7, and you're losing. Okay, he went for another line. He captured on e5 first, and now knight h6. Now this is leading to an equal position, but I'm not a big fan of it, right? I mean, there's a better way to. If you're in a must-draw situation, it's better to win the game, right? If you have a winning advantage.
It's always tricky when you're attacking to like cash in your check, right? You're building up this attack, and to go all in. The right timing is very difficult because when you go all in, you kind of start to misplace your pieces, right? Like your pieces are in good position. Then when you go for the king, you kind of leave everything kind of hanging. And if they find a way to defend it, then you have to regroup again, and you might lose your advantage. And I think that's kind of what happened here, right? Hikaru went in with queen g5 too soon, and then it didn't work out as well, I think.
Right. Yeah. He went for.
But this position is still very equal. And maybe white slightly better because king on h6 is kind of strange.
Yeah, this queen on e5 is really a beast, right? It's really controlling the entire board. Look at this ray of sunshine.
Yeah.
So I don't think he has any chances of. I don't think he's gonna lose this game. It'll probably fizzle out into a drawn endgame, I think.
Ben, did you say this? Someone, Alaska Chess is saying it's better to win the game when you have a winning advantage. Is a quote from Benjamin Bach.
Well, I was gonna. How do I put this? If you only need a draw, it's better to. Let's put it this way. If you only need a draw, it's better to make it from a position of strength. That's what I meant to say. Okay. Right? Like, if Hikaru gets a winning position, then Navara might just offer him a draw.
Right. That's true.
And see if Hikaru takes it out of, you could call that a pity draw even, right? But anyway, queen d6. I think here he's just gonna take and rook c5, and this is a draw, because either you have to go passive, or you go into this, and even without the h pawn, without the a pawn, it's a draw.
I think a draw offer from Navara is coming shortly. Hikaru won't offer a draw because it's impolite, I would say, right? So Navara is gonna offer a draw because he's gonna offer draw any minute now, I think.
Not yet. I think he's gonna play on for a little bit longer, but I don't think anything is gonna happen. Yeah, I think he's just gonna go a5, or he played rook a6. But again, without the a pawn, this is also an easy draw. So yeah, this game is gonna end in a draw, and Hikaru's gonna move on. Can we get an update on the standings? Hikaru is leading 2-0, and this game is headed for a draw, so he's probably going to win the match.
As they say, all rook king games are drawn.
We might get the Vancouver position. Can you please speak English, J-Dog? I don't know what you're talking about. You're only as good as your next chess move. It was a bit of an inside joke. Like, if you're caught up, then you know.
Would you ever push your pawn all the way down, Ben? And then, because your rook kind of gets stuck. Although your rook can threaten to check the king if it comes out. Or you can also just give up the pawn, a pawn, to get g6 pawn or something and make a draw too, right? So.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I think you don't, because after a7, rook a1, you're in Zugzwang. You have to move your rook.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. That's
well, you're not going to lose the game. You're not going to lose the game, but again, you're not making a position from. You're not making a draw from a position of strength. So he pushed the pawn all the way to a6 to keep these two squares for his rook.
That's very clever. That's really clever.
Because now if you go g4, now you can take and you just start checking black into oblivion, as our good friend Canty would always say.
Yeah, there is until the game's over, you have to, there's always some tricks in the position, and it's very easy to just say, okay, yeah, it's a draw, whatever, and then suddenly you start to give an inch, then they take a mile, Right? Your opponent takes a mile, and that's what we want to avoid. Absolutely.
Yeah, so very good technique here by Hikaru, not giving Navara any chances whatsoever. I think you have to go G4 sooner or later, but again, well, he's just going to keep checking you. He goes Rook A1, Rook A8. I guess Navara is looking for the best opportunity to get G4, and maybe what you can do is go, let's say, okay, he puts the Rook on A5.
He's just going to take on G4
and now he goes G4. Now note that G3 is made, so you have to take. Black recaptures, and now you check. Pretty sure you just check. And you just keep checking, I think.
You keep checking, so the king is going to go to the E file, right?
Probably, or the F file. Right, that's why he waited for the rook to be on A7, because if it's on A8, there's more checking distance, right? Like, because now if you go here, the king can go to G6, and now there's no more checks. Of course, this is still a draw, but there are still a couple tricks to avoid.
Ben, is there a theoretical draw with G3 check? Oh, he played it.
Oh, that is what...
The double pawns are not that useful.
Right.
Yeah, this is a theoretical draw even without the pawn, right?
Yeah. Now,
but
you have to be... You have to be careful here, though, because black is threatening king to G3, and then threatening checkmate.
Yeah. So actually, without the pawn, we have stalemate tricks, but now there's no stalemate tricks for Hikaru.
Right. And, yeah, the thing is, like, even if black takes and you take here, it is just gonna be a draw, because with the G-pawn, even the passive defense holds.
Yes.
Because
by the way, yes, moves.
Oh, sorry, let's update the board. Okay, so he played Rook B7, check, A7, G3. Can...
Rook G3, oh wow, great. Wait, does Rook G3 win, or am I blundering something?
Well, there's Rook A1, King H2. So I wouldn't... Yeah. I think he's just gonna take here. Just be safe.
Rook G3 is fancy. Or King G2 is safer.
Right, the thing is though, Rook G3 draws on a spot, but you have to see that after Rook A1 you don't take
Rook G3. Here. Excellent. And that's a very fancy draw.
Fun fact, by the way, you can even go here. You just don't take the pawn. Right, check and back. But King H2 also a draw, of course.
I think King H2, Rook H1, King G2, Rook G1. We're gonna see kings on the board.
Yeah, King H2 and
Rook H1, King. Yeah, we're gonna see this happen, most likely, because it's a very pretty way to end the game.
Exactly. So yeah,
there's still some aesthetics in there it is. Woo!
Oh yeah, very good match by Hikaru. Yeah, he wins the first game, and in game number 3, he doesn't give Navara a single chance, and he moves on to the final 16. So very good stuff. But yeah, he will be joining us for an interview. Oh shoot, very soon. Wait, give me a second. Hikaru will be joining us soon. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Yeah, I thought it was a good match. This game 3 was a little sloppy at times in the opening, because Navara had this opportunity to sack the C pawn. Also 94 already gives like a big advantage. But later on, Hikaru took control, and I think he could have easily gone for more had he not gone Queen to G5. Or do you think he was just tempted by the draw?
I think the draw, probably the fact that the indecisiveness of should I play for a draw or should I play for a win, really that's why he took so much time in the mid game there.
And Hikaru is joining us. Just give me a second. Alright, hey, how's it going, Hikaru? Pretty good. Yeah, congratulations on winning the match. What are your overall thoughts? Oh, wait, go again?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you. Wait, let me...
Mute on your end. That's fine. Yeah, so I mean, again, I feel like with most of these matches, a lot hinges on the first game. In particular, when you're playing with the white piece, if you don't put pressure at least on your opponent, then it can kind of swing in their favor. I think when I won this first game, it really set the tone. And the second game, of course, David could have made a draw at multiple times. But yeah, it must be.
So what do you?
But anyway, yeah. So I mean, as I was saying, I think in the second game he could have made a draw. He didn't make the draw, and that really cost him, of course, in the match. I mean, after he was down 2-0, there's just no chance to come back.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, in the first game, it seemed like he just blundered, right, with knight e4.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the position was still unpleasant, though. I mean, it was not a, you know, it's not easy to play. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And
right.
I mean, my guess is that probably he wasn't familiar with this whole Nimzo setup, honestly. And you know, it was kind of annoying too, though, because like the thing is, I spent like 3 minutes, and I spent 3 minutes trying to figure out whether Queen E7 or Queen G3, which one was the right move, and then like I played Queen E7. And I kind of realized that it wasn't the right move. Luckily, it was still good enough, but I mean, it was kind of annoying because as soon as the game ended, I'm like looking and thinking, and immediately I see, you know, it's like Queen G3 is like just game over, basically. So it was kind of annoying, to put it mildly.
Right, yeah, because he simply doesn't have a way to defend everything over here. But I think after that, you never really let him off the hook, so that was very good. And yeah, in game 2, do you think he just spent a lot of time because he was looking for a way to complicate things, or how would you explain his time management?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's quite. Actually, which move do you use all the time on? I'm not 100% sure.
On b6, he went from 4.5 to 2. We thought that was kind of critical.
I mean, the problem there is he has to play something like what was the simplest way? I think something like Rook E1 was probably good enough, like some kind of Rook E1. Although Rook E1 b6 maybe. Not sure. I'm not sure exactly what the best way to make the draw there was, but the problem is that, like, I mean, it really hinged upon whether I calculated this endgame correctly. Because I think I used like 3 or 4 minutes to play this whole E4 line. Because initially, you know, before he played knight E3 the first time, I was expecting bishop E3. Then he played knight E3, and while he was thinking and he played that, I was wondering about this whole bishop E3 E4 line where he takes queen C4, bishop D4, knight D6. But then as soon as he actually played bishop E3 on the board, I suddenly realized that there was this knight D4 move. So I spent like 3 minutes calculating. I think it's all completely fine for me. But that's what I was thinking about. And then, yeah, he played this B6 move, which was unfortunate. It was not the best move. I think actually Rook B4, the Rook was on B1, I think. I think Rook B4 is one of the easier ways to make a draw. But he obviously didn't want to make a draw there. He's down 1-0 in the match. So I completely understand it.
Right, and then, yeah, we thought after b6, like, the pawn on b6 just turned into a weakness, and combined with the time advantage, it just felt very tough for him to hold.
Yeah, I mean, again, it was a very Magnus kind of endgame where it seems like it should be a draw, and then all of a sudden you realize they're tricks. Like, you suddenly realize with the white piece there's some tricks where the knight can get stuck on, like, a8 or potentially b5, a7 as well. And so there's some lines that are very tricky to calculate. And I think, again, he kind of collapsed there under the pressure of time, you know, with no time there. But that's what it is.
Right. And then what are...
third game...
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Gary.
There were several moments in the third game. Did the fact that you needed to draw to win the match affect some of the moves during this game? Because it felt like you wanted to go for an attack, but you decided to trade some pieces.
Yeah, no, I mean, of course, there were many options in the third game where I suspect that I was probably close to winning at least a couple different times. But the thing is, there was nothing clear cut, and when you're up 2-0, it doesn't really make sense. For example, like I played this bishop D3 move to trade the bishops, and it's just a very good practical decision. You know, it's not what I want to do. I thought maybe I can go H3 G4, maybe knight E2 G3 right away, maybe even H4 and some bishop G5. Like, there are a lot of interesting ways to play the position, but at the end of the day, I'm up 2-0. So it's like, why do I want to take that risk? Sure, if I win the game, I win the match 3-0. But I mean, I guess unless I really feel like flexing, care about 5 stupid rapid points, then I mean, it's kind of silly. So I thought most of my decisions were pretty good just to keep everything under control.
Right. And also the pawn on C7 at some point in earlier, you considered capturing that?
I mean, I did consider it briefly. Actually, when I was thinking about Rook C1 for a while, I wasn't actually thinking about Queen C7 right away. I was trying to make like Rook C1 and then Rook C8 Queen B4 work, or even Rook C1 C6 Queen B4 work, just to trade off into a very dry end game. And I don't know if it actually works, but at some point it was just like, I really want to do that. I want to also play H or G4. There are all these ideas, and it's like, okay, I'm just going to go bishop D3. and keep it simple. So yeah, I consider queen c7 very briefly, but mainly I was trying to find some way to go queen b4, because the even after e3, after maybe I can do it, but again, if I'm wrong, it's hard to plan. Also there, I spend a lot of time. I'm gonna have to spend a lot of time, and he's gonna get like 5 or 6 very, very quick natural moves.
Right. Yeah, and actually we were a little bit surprised though, because he did have some, like after queen takes c3, apparently like 94 already gives black quite a serious advantage after in the opening.
Yeah, well, let's just say I when I played queen c2, it's because I forgot about this complicated line with d5 and c5. In my mind, when I changed the line, I thought after that castles e4 is what I was going to do, and I mean black has many ways to make quick draws, but if black doesn't make a draw, generally is worse. So that's actually the reason I did it. And then I kind of realized when he went d5 that of course a3 is the move, but that also allows some of those lines with takes on c3 and c5 and d4. And sure, I mean, it's completely playable for white, but it gets very sharp. So I inverted the order, and then yeah, when he was thinking and he played bishop f5, I did kind of realize that I think 94 queen c2 and like queen f6 or something. Maybe it's queen
like
f6
bishop
or bishop f5 first, but I know there's something with like a queen f6 bishop f5 that's supposed to be good there for black, but I mean whatever. It's a blitz game. Who cares?
Right. Yeah. No. After that, yeah, you seem to be in control. So yeah, overall, pretty good match. Who are you playing in the next match again?
I play Dominguez in the next match, so that's the
nice.
next match that I have probably in about a week. That is the final match. If I win that match, I will make it to Toronto. If I lose, of course, I'm out. So that's gonna be fun. But for now, that's it's sort of now my focus shifts to tomorrow. I'm playing on the great chess website Lee Chess, where I will be playing in the Fisher Random. I think it's like I don't know what they call it. You actually know, Gowry, because you're in Charlotte, I think. So. Like, I know it's like the Charlotte offer spill, whatever, world champion qualifier. I don't know. But at any rate, I'm in the semifinals of that. If I win the semifinals and the finals, then I will make it to Iceland. So that was great to win today, but now it's just moving on to tomorrow.
Okay, great stuff.
Yeah, that was good.
All right. Yeah, there's still 2 more matches going on. Do you perhaps want to have a very quick look? Let's see where the games are. I don't know if you had a chance to look or what your thoughts were.
I mean, I didn't look closely. I saw Peter's match was 1-1 because I checked very briefly in between games 2 and 3. So I saw Peter's match was 1-1. There was one other match that I thought was also 1-1. I don't know who it was.
Levon took the lead, yeah, but Nepo and Sviller are still tied, and Sviller will have white in the 4th game, but Levon just took a 2-1 lead.
Yeah, you know what? I also didn't realize though until I actually pulled up and looked very briefly at the chess.com graphic, because I didn't realize it was 4 games and then Armageddon, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, straight Armageddon. So I actually thought it was 4 games, and then I thought there were like 2 blitz games and then Armageddon. So. I mean, with Armageddon in game 5, I guess what I would say is obviously for me, I only have to get through one more match before getting there potentially, but I'm in a way very happy that I had that mishap against Jan in the RCC with a similar Armageddon situation, because I think in my mind at least I have a pretty good idea of like how much time you can spot. So hopefully it doesn't come to that, but in my mind I've already been thinking a little bit about that as well for matches, potentially because of what happened in the Armageddon game against Jan all the way back like 2 months ago. Right,
yeah, makes sense.
So right, what were the other matches? There's Levon's match, and
Levon won this endgame against Madlikov, which should be a draw, but of course it's time with little time. But yeah, Nepo and Svila are still tied, 1.5, 1.5.
Wait, Madlikov lost his Rook and 2 versus Rook and 1. What?
Yeah, it happens. But might bring back good memories of my game against Dreyev, right?
Yes, of course. But I don't understand. How do you win after King G6 here?
Well, that move was not played.
Oh,
Rook H5 is really asking for... yeah, that's... Yeah.
Isn't King G6 just an easy draw?
I would think so, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty sad, yeah, because he kind of throws the match here. Unless he comes back, but it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, very... Okay, that's, I don't even know what to say. That's just very weird.
So what do you think Sviler's strategy is going to be in game 4? Do you think he's going to try to play with white pieces, or like myself, just make a draw and go for the Armageddon?
So, okay, so I can't play Jan, right? I can't play him before we're in Toronto. So I'm going to say this. When I played Jan in the RCC, it was very clear in the final 2 matches... or I guess Andrega was the final one, which didn't matter. But against Fedosev and myself, you start with 10 minutes and you make a bid below 10. Now, for both of those matches, Jan bid exactly 10 minutes. So it's very clear to me that Jan is going to want white. So if I'm Peter in game 4, you might want to try and start playing the mind games where basically you make a draw and then you bid 14.59, because then you're playing Armageddon with the exact same time. There might be some like psychology there potentially.
Right, but then again, let's say Nepo bids 14.30. I think you're kind of screwed.
But like I said, though, Nepo bid 10 minutes exactly the previous 2 times. He bid 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's it's pretty insane to do that twice.
Right, but when I played against him, I actually thought about bidding like 9.59 just to be cheeky. And I'm like, no, I mean that's just too stupid and too silly. But he bid the max time in both of those games. So I think there's some chance that he might not bid the maximum, but I think there's a good chance he's going to bid something like 14 minutes or something very high anyway, because he just wants the white pieces. Right. He wants white pieces in the final game.
So someone in the chat is asking, bid 10 minutes, explain. Well, that just guarantees that you will have the white pieces, but on the flip side, if your opponent also bids high, he will not have much of a time deficit.
Right,
so
exactly.
Do you want to share any thoughts as to what you believe a good bid is?
No, not until next match or after the next match. Then I'm willing to share, but until then I won't, because again, I'm playing Dominguez, and it could go to Armageddon. So I'm gonna avoid saying that right now. What if both players bid 10 minutes? I don't know, you guys.
I think they just bid again.
Higher seed gets it, I think.
If you bid the same time, okay.
Pretty sure.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, probably it's something like you bid again, and then if it's the same time, I don't know what happens then, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, who knows? But at the end of the day, I do think that for Peter, he might look at it that way, where Jan desperately is going to want the white pieces in the final game, and you never know what could happen. But still, they have a 4th game to play. I don't think Peter's going to play for a quick draw, but it's also very tough because obviously Peter and Jan are good friends. They've known each other a long time. I don't know if Peter's actually worked with Jan in the candidates for the World Championship, but again, they've definitely done stuff in the past. So tough to tell in terms of who has the edge.
Yeah, no, for sure. And even if he wants to play in the 4th and final game, I mean, Jan is just so super solid with the black pieces that I think it's very likely that this match is just going to go to Armageddon. And then, the question becomes, I think Sviller's best chances, honestly, will be, with the black piece in the Armageddon and, hoping that he can save the match. But actually, on that topic, right? So you had a very up and down match against Nepo. So in that case, it's normal that he wants white, right? Because he won a very convincing game with the white pieces. This game is kind of locked, this match, right? There have been 3 draws. From that standpoint, it makes sense to want the black pieces, right? And it would be
but his match against Fedosey was the exact same way, I believe. I think it was a bunch of draws. So, and he still bid maximum time. So, I mean, I don't know again, but it'll be very interesting to see what he does here.
Right. Yeah. So we'll see what is going to happen. Do you think Madlikov has any chances of coming back, or?
He's gonna have the white piece in the 4th game, so it's definitely possible. He's been very resilient when I've seen him play, like in the Rapid Chess Championship. He's been pretty resilient coming back when he's had his back against the wall. So it's possible. I think it's unlikely, but we'll see.
Right. Yeah.
I had a general question, Hikaru. I think people in the audience are wondering, what do you do between the games? Because they're played so quickly, it made 5-minute break.
Let's go, Hikaru.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely changed that, because I know when I played my previous match, as soon as the game started, they said it's like in 40 minutes or something. So it's guaranteed that you like have a time in your mind. Whereas like today, when the game's ended, it was immediately 5 minutes, and then you start again, basically. I know they were waiting for all the games to end, but you don't have a clear idea of when the next game's going to be. And it feels a little bit awkward. It's kind of strange, but basically I just get up, go use the restroom, get some water, and come back and get ready. If I haven't done my prep ahead of time, well, that's life, but it's what it is.
Right. So have there been like matches or situations where you would do prep in between games, or not really?
No,
or only if you have a specific opening problem.
I mean, obviously, like what this harkens back to is the Meltwater events that I played in 2021 is very similar format. Now, again, I think there was a little more than 5 minutes again between games, but it was 4-game matches, so I'm used to it. To be blunt, I did no prep before my first match against Vasquez from Chile. I did no prep at all for that match. This match, I did some prep ahead of it, obviously. I'm probably I'll do some more, but unless I run into some kind of big problem in the next match, I doubt I'll be doing any prep in the games.
All right. Yeah, it makes sense. Like the next game is always coming up so soon that you know it's better to keep a clear head. Yeah. So what do you want to do? Do you want to stick around for a little bit, or you just want to chill?
I'm gonna bounce. I mean, of course I have the event tomorrow to play, but also I have my parents in town, so it's been pretty
nice.
It's been a pretty busy time, and yeah, I'm just glad I was able to win today, and yeah, well, hopefully I can do well tomorrow, and then back to focusing on the CGC because it's just too many events going on right now.
All right. Well, have a great rest of your day, and yeah, we look forward to seeing you play tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for doing the coverage, Gowrie, Benjamin.
Okay, thank you.
All right, our pleasure. All right,
Bye.
have a good one. Bye.
Okay.
Oh, wait a second. And we are back. All right, so let's see what
great dominating performance by Hikaru. Really, really good games. Possibly could have went 3-0, but you know, just the fact that he needed a draw, that's why he drew pretty much. It felt like this game.
Yeah, so I expect the fourth and final game, or actually probably not the fourth and final game between Nepo and Sviller is going to start.
Okay.
But yeah, Gowrie, what do you make of this position that Madlikov has so far against Levon with the white piece? I mean, the good thing is that he still has all the pieces on the board, and I do remember that they played a match in the World Cup in 2017 where I believe Levon took the lead once or maybe twice, and Madlikov did come back. So he, as Hikaru was talking about, he has shown resilience in the past.
What opening was this? Is the Hikaru Khan? Or no, it can't be, right? What is such a weird structure.
A ready. So
ready, okay.
So Levon, he is inviting white to go into a Catalan with c4, but that becomes very theoretical. Levon is going to try to trade a bunch of pieces there, so I think because of that, Madlikov wanted to keep more pieces on the board, so I think Levon should be doing b4, though. Looks risky to me, with your king still in the center, like takes in c4 maybe?
Right. Just to be clear, Madlikov needs to win this game.
Right.
Right? Because he lost the last game. So
indeed.
That's a big advantage. As we saw from Hikaru's game, having a draw odds it's incredibly huge. Incredibly.
Exactly. Yeah, no, for sure. And it's also tough for your opponent because sometimes he's like, well, this position is a little bit dry. I don't want to go for that. Don't want to go for that either.
Right.
But yeah, I think in general, you just have to try to play the game. Just try to put pressure on your opponent. That's all you can do. Because also for Levon, right, there's also pressure on him. He might not want to go for the continuation that is complicated. Right, so I think you have to try to maybe bluff also a little bit there.
Although black seems really solid with again, I'm a big fan of the two center pawns versus just one very solid, hard to crack. And his king's relatively safe. You know, if white takes on d5, there's going to be a little bit even less imbalance, right? As opposed to playing something like c5, which looks, you know, maybe can happen in the future, c5.
I like c5 because, yeah, black has those two pawns in the center, but white has a clamp on the queen side. And the question is, how are you going to get rid of it? Like knight b3, followed by bishop f4. Looks pretty pleasant. So I like this move, rook a8, from Levon a lot. Because let's say you just cancel, right, the automatic move. White goes knight b3. And in case of rook a8, I go bishop f4 and keep full control over the board. But now after rook a8, white is facing a bit of an awkward choice. Like, do you take and give black the a file? Or do you go knight b3? But then black's going to take and force your knight into the corner. I mean, it's eventually going to come back, but white is losing some time in the process.
The main question, I guess, is this the kind of position that it's kind of closed? Does time matter as much with the center closed like this? You know, maybe the fact that black doesn't have the e5 break that easily means that white has more time to catch up, play bishop f4, rook a1, right? Maybe Madlikov got a decent position after the c5 move was critical. I think this is what he wants. He needs this.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, he needs some sort of imbalance, and he got that here with the pawn on c5. Also, this bishop on d7 is a little bit blocked in. The same can be said about the bishop on e7.
Yeah.
And I think if he gets bishop f4 and rook a1, he should have a very good position. Now this bishop on g2 is kind of stuck staring on this pawn on d5, but you can always go bishop g2. And this pawn on b4 can become a weakness later on. Like just to illustrate, like let's say all of the heavy pieces will be traded. So let's say something like, I don't know, I'm just making some random moves, right? Like let's say all of the heavy pieces get traded. You might think like, oh, more trades, black's coming closer to a draw. But if all of this happens, then this pawn on b4 can suddenly disappear. So Levon decides to go for active counterplay with the move queen a4. I like what he's doing here, because defending the knight on b3 looks a little bit awkward.
Right. So he's trying to do something really quick before white catches up and plays all these developing moves. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe disrupting the disrupting Matlako's coordination, right? Trying to make his pieces block each other. Queen a4. That seems to be the point of this move.
For sure. And as we speak, the fourth game between Svidler and Nepo has just taken off. And given the fact that Svidler plays the English, tells me that he's in a combative mood. He doesn't just want to make a boring draw with the white piece. He wants to go for it. And he has played knight c3, hitting the queen. So I guess queen e5. Nepo has quite some experience in this line. And actually, Nepo had something very similar against Ali Reza in St. Louis, just to show real quick. In that game, he played knight f6 first, bishop g2 and then c6. But he got into some trouble right out of the opening. I believe e3 was played and things went wrong for Nepo. He lost that game very, very quickly. And guess who was the commentator for that game?
No idea.
It was Svidler.
Oh.
So he was watching that game from the first row. But I don't know. I think black should be doing fine here. I mean, you can even just go for this trade, followed by knight f6 and bishop e6. Looks pretty solid, right?
Yeah.
Or like after bishop g2, then go for it. So, and there we... I don't know. Would you... I would even maybe think that black can be for choice here because isolated pawn on d4. So, not sure what I think about this opening choice by Svidler.
But can we go to the current position?
Yeah, so we have this one.
Okay, sure.
But in the meantime...
Yeah, this doesn't look like a very, very easy game for Nepo here. Feels like.
Right. Yeah, I think so too. I think black is a very comfortable game. White is the isolated pawn. I mean, white has two bishops, but this bishop on g2 is neutralized by this pawn on c6. So bishop on f4 is lagging targets, and again, white is this isolated pawn on d4. But let's see. In the meantime, we have this game between Madlakov and Aronian, and 97 has just been played, making his intentions very clear.
Definitely, that game is a bit more spicy for sure. 97. Right. Wow. And Rook even played immediately.
Yeah, so I think if White gets a couple moves like 95 or bishop f4, he should be doing very well. Like, actually, black has to be careful with bishop f4 and rook a1.
So Aronian is improving his bishop to b5 and then playing knight c6 back. It's kind of just rearranging the pieces a little bit, shuffling them, so at least the bishop is now has a nice open diagonal, open view of position. It's pretty clever, right? This maneuver.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I like this idea a lot. Queen e3 played by Madlakov. Now you could even consider knight g4 because you have to go to f4, leaving the knight on b3 behind, but you can take this knight over here. So let's see what is going to happen. I guess if black
knight g4 is definitely interesting.
Go for 95.
Or keep it simple with knight c6, just and then
And actually, I just had a look at the Svidler game. He just went for queenside castles. Maybe what he wants to do after h6 is take and then go for d5, right? Get rid of the isolated pawn. Although black should be completely fine here as well, right? I mean, this could just be headed for a draw.
Yeah, they're going for the Armageddon.
I think that's quite likely. All right, so knight c6 by Aronian. So in case of 95, then you can trade. I don't know, Levon... Medikov has to come up with something very quickly. If black castles on the next move, maybe puts a knight on e4. I think black's doing pretty well. White's pieces look a little bit cramped over here.
Right, no, he needs to... What is the plan here, right? A knight e5 maybe, but the knight takes e5. Knight e5 is interesting because then white can play f4, f5, perhaps? Is that a
Right,
plan?
yeah. That could be an idea. Take, knight d7, or just the good old bishop d2 and rook a1 is also still very annoying. And actually, you know, you hit the queen, also this check over here is going to be extremely annoying. Just to showcase, like let's say you go here, we go rook a1, you go here, there's knight d4 jumps. Actually, probably knight d4 is good to get to the square. But like something like, let's say check followed by... Actually, white has a nice tactic here. Take, and knight c6, and you win the game.
Oh, wow.
So...
Look at you go. And with the tactics there. Yeah. Wow, that's cool.
So really things can get out of hand. I just wanted to illustrate that. So let's see what he's going to do. I think 95 makes sense here.
95 is going to come, I feel like. Because it's a net, there's nothing else he could do, right? He can just... There's no plan for white.
Exactly. And by the way, we wanted to remind you guys, so Hikaru was talking about the Chess 960 tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the semifinals will start of the FIDE, Lichess, CCC, and NACCL World Feature Random Qualifier. Hikaru is playing Sam Savian in a 2-game match, I believe, in the semifinals. If he wins that one, he will play the winner of the match between Garakamsky and Andrei Yesipenko for a spot in the World Feature Random Championship in Iceland. So he should have pretty good chances, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Who do you think is the best 960 player or the leading? I think Vestisa won the World Championship once, I believe. I don't know much about the 960 history of the 960 or the leading person who has the most grasp on the 960. Like you have an app named 964. It was my Siri just said.
So what did Siri say?
It says it doesn't look like you have a 960.
Okay. Well, yeah, so that is what is going to be happening tomorrow. Anyway, so let's see. Okay, so takes a 92. Oh yeah, but yeah, good question. Yeah, Wesley did very well last year in the World Championship against Magnus. He won quite convincingly. But yeah, Ali, I think generally Hikaru should have a pretty decent grasp.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You would still expect Carlsen to be the best player, right? Because it turns into normal chess very often. And, you know, he's the best player in normal chess, so I would think him.
I don't know. I feel like Magnus is not as good as 960. It just feels... It doesn't come as naturally to me. It feels to me that perhaps I'm wrong, at least.
Yeah,
I feel like his pattern recognition intuition doesn't work. Yeah, his intuition doesn't work as well at 960. At least that to me.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, right? Like maybe he just has so much knowledge and his intuition really works very well in normal chess. Oh, and by the way, as we speak, the game between Svidler and Nepo just ended in a draw, so that means Armageddon.
Wow.
Okay, this is gonna be fire. How much time do you think they're gonna bid? Hikaru was talking about this earlier, how Nepo beat like 10 minutes in the RCC. Do you think he's gonna bid high again?
A lot of people in the audience, and many people don't know what the whole situation with Armageddon is. First of all, bless you.
Thank you.
3. Is it better to be white with the or black there with the draws? You know, in general, just like we talk about the 2 bishops, you know, versus 2 knights, or in general, is it better to, you know, try to win or get the draws with black?
Right. So it's a very good question. I think it depends on the time advantage, right? So since I'm knocked out now of the CGC, I'll give a bit of my thoughts. So I played Grishuk in the round of 64, and he bid 10 minutes and 45 seconds, which felt on the low end, right? I mean, you started with the white pieces, also with a time advantage of 4 minutes and 15 seconds. So since I've seen white winning so many matches, I'm sort of shifting to the view that perhaps white does have an edge, you know, because again, there's no increment.
Yeah.
And again, being up that much time will play a role, right? I mean, black has to catch up at some point because, you know, if you have a 4 minute and 15 minute advantage, it can easily turn into, let's say, 5 minutes versus 1 minute towards the end, and then you're just going to lose if you have that 1 minute on the clock. So I think Nepo's strategy makes sense, but if someone catches him, right, and also bids, let's say, 14.30 or 14.50, I do think that black should have an edge, right? I mean, having the draw odds and with equal time.
Right. So if you're okay with playing with black, then you should bid like closer to 15 minutes, I guess.
Well, if you bid closer to 15 minutes, you'll probably play with white. So
oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
I think you should, of course, be willing to take some time disadvantage, but not too much. And I think generally Nepo's strategy makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, if you bid 10 minutes, right, in the RCC, so 15 minutes in this case, you have a very good chance of getting the white pieces. But now that people know of his strategy, I think he might have to adjust it a little bit. But he might go down to, let's say, 14. Right? I think Nepo is still a heavy favorite, being down only a minute in the Armageddon. And, you know, the other player will have to bid something like 13 and a half.
Right.
So
it's like a chess game itself.
Right.
Before the chess game even starts. And like your previous bits are like your opening preparation leak or not leak. It's in the database. In a sense. Okay, we have some moves.
Malikov went
here?
all out, second a piece,
whoa.
but does he have more than the draw? I don't think he has more than the draw here. Uh-oh.
Can we back up? Also, we probably should utilize both screens now, both boards, maybe.
Yeah, we can do it. Yeah, let's do it. But yeah, I don't think he has more than the draw here, and he has already repeated the position twice. But let's try to pull up that game on the second board as well, so we can freely move around. I don't see it.
Yeah, draw would do nothing here.
Right.
So why did he just he must have seen some sort of follow-up that keeps the attack going, like
maybe H4,
H4
because you threaten H5, right? Which which
we don't have any pieces to bring some pawns.
But I think black just goes H6 or H5, making some move for the king, and again you're down a piece. You barely have any attacking pieces. I don't think he has more here.
Yeah, H6 is a problem. Whoa, what was Mudlockout thinking? He just sacrificed into a draw. Now he has no chances.
I don't think so either. Yeah, I mean, I don't see it here. Yeah, and otherwise you just have to continue the game down a piece. So I think this might be the end for Maxim Mudlockout. Very, very tough way to get knocked out, because the third game it looked like it was an easy draw, right? After the move King G6 that Hikaru pointed out, but he blundered. And okay, so it goes B3. You shouldn't take, but I guess Queen B6 and Queen A6 or Queen B5, and it doesn't change much. I think you still just have to go for the repetition. I would personally maybe go here, so you have Queen C8 as well.
Yeah, what does B3 even do, right?
I think just prolong the game for a couple more moves.
One more move, right? Yeah, it's curious. Did he have to sack like that, or did he, just miscalculated something? I'm not sure.
Right, so someone is asking in the chat, could you explain how the bid system works? Right. So after the fourth game, if the match is tied 2-2, both players make a bid as to how much time they're willing to play with as black. Right? White gets 15 minutes, and black gets whatever they bid lower, whatever the lowest bid is. Right. So let's say one player bids 12 one player bids 12 minutes and the other player bids 11, the player who bid 11 minutes is going to play with that time, and white is going to get 15 minutes, but black has draw odds. So that's how it works. And again, that's why Nepo bid the highest. So he guarantees himself to have the white pieces. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, Vishy Anand bid 7 minutes, which I thought was really too low, and he went on to lose the match. Because you're just down 8 minutes from the very start, with no increment.
Right. Is there a sweet spot where it's like, you know, 10, 11?
I think a lot of players have been bidding around 12 or 11 minutes. That's what I've been seeing.
Split the difference, 11:30.
Yeah. 11. Yeah, 11. Yeah, I guess something like that. Yeah.
Basically, even if you lose the bid, both players, there's still chances, right? It's not a, 7 minutes like for Rishi, right?
Right. Yeah. 7. Yeah, like if you bid 7 minutes, you know you're gonna have black for sure. But again, you're just gonna be with your back against the wall from the very beginning. Right. If you don't close the gap down anytime soon, or you would have to basically trade off a lot of pieces from the very start. I think that's your only chance. Like if you're gonna have a complicated middle game, I think there's basically no chance that you're gonna win the match.
Right.
Right. I mean, if you're down so much time.
Absolutely. Maybe Vishy thought he has an airtight repertoire. He could shut anything down, and he thought he could draw. Perhaps, I'm not sure.
Right. Yeah. Queen f5, king f7. Okay, so now white has to take. If you take with the bishop, there might be g5, or you hang this. So I guess you recapture with the king. Also, look at the time. Levon up 5.5 minutes here.
5 minutes. Wow. And a piece. But the piece is he going to take with the king?
Right. Oh, by the way, the Armageddon is being set up as we speak. So Nepo has the white pieces. How much time does Fiddler have? Do we see that anywhere? Okay, so Fiddler has 11 minutes. Apparently Nepo bid 12. So 12 is considerably lower than he would bid before. It's still slightly on the high end, I would say. But yeah, 4-minute time advantage for Nepo. I don't know. Given the fact that Nepo was so convincing in earlier Armageddons, I do give him the edge there. Hikaru won, to answer your question. Yeah. What do you think, Gary?
I don't know. It's maybe Nepo does have the edge. He's the one who bid the 12, right?
Yeah. Right. Anyway, so let's see what is gonna happen. But yeah, there we see Fiddler. He is down to 10 minutes.
They started already. Wow. So they're playing the Armageddon, and then we have the Levon game going on. They haven't even reached that point. So we have two interesting games here.
Right. So Queen G8. Yeah, I mean, he's going after this pawn. But again, Levon is just up a piece here. I don't see any chances whatsoever for Medikov. Also, look at the time. He's down 5 minutes on the clock. It takes, but okay, Queen D7. You're going to lose this pawn. I think it's going to be over very, very soon. There's no doubt in my mind that Levon is going to move on here. So perhaps what we can do is let's just switch the boards around, because I think we all want to see
Nepo's game.
Yeah, we all want to see Nepo's game.
We have already a spicy opening. Weird English opening where Black tried to fianchetto, but then he said, just kidding, I'm going to play bishop b4 check instead. And he's up a pawn. There's a weird pin on the e file. What is going on?
Right, yeah, I think this line is what you want if you're Fiddler, because there's a lot of trades here. So just to recap real quick, so c4, g6, Fiddler is a Grunfeld expert. So after d4, he's going to play knight f6. And here, so that is why Nepo played e4, right? And the only way to stop white from getting the King's Indian is to play the move e5. If you go c5, white is going to get the Maraxi bind. All right, so e4, d4. Now, if you take, this attack on the rook is very awkward to meet. So he plays knight f6. Now white goes here. Takes e5, check, bishop d2, and queen e7. As you said, defending the bishop and pinning the pawn. Oh, and knight bd2. That's a move I'm not familiar with. I thought white generally goes queen e2. And they go into this endgame, which, in my opinion, should favor black, right? Given the match situation.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, knight bd2. Okay, so now this knight has to move, or you could even castle here. Because if you take rook e8 check, followed by d3.
Did he choose to play queen e7 there?
He's still thinking, and he's dropping below 10 minutes. And here's really where, again, what I said before, where we see the dynamic of the Armageddon, right? You're already dropping below 10 minutes. Your opponent has 13. There's no increment. It's unpleasant to play with the black pieces, but of course you do have those draw odds.
Yeah. I thought I saw queen e7 there somewhere, but maybe that was an else. I'm not sure earlier. But this is the current position, right after knight bd2.
Right.
Castle played.
But then on the other hand, you only need a draw. 9.5 minutes is a lot of time, right? I mean, usually you play blitz games with 3 minutes. So you can play definitely a full game of chess with 9.5 minutes, right? Like if you take 1 second per move, you can, I don't know, you can make a lot of moves. Let's put it that way. So we'll see. And for the moment, Svidler is
what do you
doing
think?
well.
Who's the favorite here? Do you think Svidler's the favorite right now? What does chat think here? Svidler
Yeah, perhaps we can do a prediction right now. I would think.
I feel like Nepo's still the favorite because first of all, he's a stronger player, and he has more time. The position is complicated, so adding all these 3 things together, Svidler's a great guy, great personality, great ambassador for chess. I like Svidler, but I think Nepo's definitely the favorite here.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. Since you say Nepo, I'm gonna then put my hypothetical, or how do I put this? I'm gonna put my money. Let's just put it that way on Svidler, because the position should be good for him. Right after d6, knight is c6. He is up a pawn. I don't see it right away how white is proving the compensation. And again, 8.5. Okay, time is ticking down. That's the difficult part. But you can still make a lot of moves with this kind of time.
Don't those weaknesses on the king side though kind of scare you a little bit? Just
that is true. I think it hinges on the next couple of moves. If Svidler plays accurately, maybe simplifies the position a little bit, I think he's in good shape to at least get a draw from this game. But if he doesn't solve these problems and Nepo all of a sudden gets like a big attack on the queen side, and I don't like that move, I think it's going to be very tough.
Imagine a queen going to h6 or something. Right. That'd be insane. Not that it's easy to get there.
And
also, that bishop on c8 is a bit stuck.
And also look at the time, right? Svidler started the game with a 4-minute time disadvantage, and it's only become bigger. Right now, it's 4.5. And it's getting below 8. It's still a lot of time, but he has to speed up. Okay, queen e7. Nice solid move, I think. Bring the queen back. There again, there's nothing wrong with the black position, and it has the potential to simplify.
So, rook e1, queen d2, next couple of moves, or rook e1 seems like a very natural move here. I always tell my students, like, if you have a chance to put the rook opposite the queen, do it. 90% of the time it works, every time. It's always a good idea to put it opposite the king or the queen. Just put it there.
Right. But yeah, rook e1 is a good move, but I think black is happy to answer that with d6. Because again, this simplifies the position. Your bishop is ready to go to g4. And again, any trade is in black's favor. And yeah, I like black's position here. I think Svidler has a very healthy position. And he's up a pawn. I mean, Nepo still has to prove something. And, in the worst case, he gets it back. The position is symmetrical. So I think right now Svidler is in great shape. If he speeds up a little bit.
Current position is after d6, right? Okay.
Right, because if you get to a drawn position, then at some point, of course, like the 3 folds are going to kick in, or the 50 move rule. So we'll see how he will continue. Nepo keeping up the pace, still keeping that like 4-minute time advantage, but bishop g4 should
He's
be...
trying. Yeah, is he trying to win the pawn back? Just d4, simple as that.
But after bishop g4, can you actually win it back? Because rook d... I'm not a fan of that move. I think Sviller just had to go for easy development, right? Bishop g4, bring this rook to d8, bring the other rook to e8. Now, let's say white go... maybe queen d2 in here.
Also, f7 is a bit weaker now, right? That could be an issue.
Right. So
like
let's say
bishop d5 at some point.
Right, or stuff like takes and 95 now, since the queen is no longer pinned. So I don't like rook d8 at all. And I think if Nepo finds the right moves, he could have an advantage.
Ooh, yeah.
Not necessarily
so
on the
coming.
board, but just the combined complications and the clock situation.
Right.
In the meantime,
Queen
by the
d2
way,
is a nice...
Oh, sorry to interrupt you, but I just wanted to say real quick that in the meantime, Levant did win his match. So he moves on to the final 16 as well.
Wow.
But go ahead.
No, so I was saying queen d2, that I know eyeballing queen h6, knight g5, that would be like a sneak attack.
Right.
And also kind of seeing how does black respond to it. And how does black respond to it, actually, queen d2 here?
I don't know. That's a very good question. You have queen f4, but I doubt that that's what you want to do, because I think this endgame is quite unpleasant. So I don't know.
Chop on c6.
But look at the time. It's closing down a little bit. Nepo now up 2.5 minutes on the clock.
Do you think that after queen d2, king d7 is possible, or is that just like too passive?
Right, and it feels risky stepping into this diagonal. But bishop d5 played. He's going for a very direct attack, but what does he want after, let's say, knight b4 or knight e7? I don't know. Oh, wait, I think I know. Or I don't know if this works, but maybe he wants to do this. With the idea that you cannot take twice because of rook e8 and you lose the game. But there should be good ways for black to continue here, right? Like b6, bishop b7. Oh, wait, sorry. Knight f6 was played,
Yeah,
and knight takes d4.
As long as he doesn't blunder that.
Okay.
So temporarily white has won the pawn back, but is black going to win another pawn?
I don't know. This looks tricky. This looks very tricky to me for black. Because, again, if you take, you cannot take. Because there's this trick with rook e8. Check, the king cannot go up. And you lose your queen. So you might have to take. And if you go b6 here, I'm kind of worried about moves like knight g5 and knight e4 coming. And if bishop f5, there's g4 hitting the bishop. If the bishop moves again, if the knight comes to f6, it's absolutely devastating. And now the time advantage is widening again. Nepo up 3 minutes on the clock. I think, unless... Wait, maybe bishop e6 works. If bishop e6 works, that could solve all of Sweetler's problems, potentially.
Basically, Peter has to neutralize white's disposition in about 3 minutes. If he lets it stay complicated and the time just runs down, even if it's evenly, then he's going to be in trouble, right? He needs to find a way to neutralize. He can't let he got to shut this game down as soon as possible. Yeah,
100%. If he goes for a move like bishop f5, I think, let's say after rook 81, it's just going to be tough, right? As you mentioned, you're down at this point almost 4 minutes. White has a easier to play position. So I think he's definitely looking to make bishop e6 work. So let's have a look, right? So bishop e6, white might have to take because this is hanging. So let's see, take. Maybe rook d1 is a last effort, right? Because after takes, if you take, there's rook d7. But maybe rook e8 just solves all of black's
This should be just be easy draw, right? Or
I think so, yeah. And this is a position, even though you're down on the clock, you know, here everything could disappear. And he has played bishop e6. Now let's see what Nepo is going to come up with. I think it's going to be a race against the clock here, right? If they end up in a drawn endgame. Because 5.5 minutes is still a lot of time. Oh, wait, what? Is the guy on the right Hikaru? Yes, we have a very special guest here. Hikaru's dad decided to join the stream. So, yeah, Hikaru's dad, are you proud of your son for moving on to the final 16?
Let's go back to the game.
Okay, never mind. Anyway, bishop b6, let's see. No, in all seriousness, Hikaru, he was gonna leave the stream earlier to enjoy the day with his parents.
Yes.
Queen h4, he's sacking
He's
the
gonna be
pawn.
here any minute now.
Okay, bishop takes d5. Because if you take with the queen, then white can take... Okay, rook 81. I think Nepo is bluffing a little bit, trying to keep the position complicated and bank on that time advantage. But it's a gamble for sure.
5 minutes to 8 minutes. Oof. I don't know. I feel like he's gotten out of the woods somewhat, right?
Yeah, black is doing
Somewhat.
great, but again, the time is tricky. Svidler has to find the pace somehow. Otherwise, it's still gonna be a tough game. You gotta go.
What do you think Sweetie would play here? C6, just to consolidate.
I liked c6 to consolidate, but he goes for f6. Not a big fan of that one. He's getting the sting out of knight at g5. It looks solid, right? If you get c6 on the next move, maybe then you start trading down. But you have to be careful, right? Because even if white ends up in an equal position, with the time advantage, white is going to be a big favorite. So let's see how Nepo's going to keep the game going. Maybe knight d2 to e4 is a trick. Did Hikaru win the 200k? No, but he moves on to the next round, so he already guarantees himself 15 grand. Okay, Nepo's still up almost 3 minutes.
If I could play h4, h5, that would be great. It's just that my queen's in the way.
Right, yeah. Oh, so he goes h3 a little bit. Oh, you know what he wants? He wants to do this.
Knight h2?
Knight h2 to g4. So let's have a look, right? So let's say c6, knight h2. How do you stop this? And if h5, he wants to do this.
All right, guys.
Again, with
We're gonna learn something today.
And Svidler is
Nepo's
not speeding up. He's still. I'm gonna make a. I'm a Svidler fan. Let's make that very clear. But he's not speeding up, and that's a big problem. c6. It's maybe here or and also at h3 he makes some luft for the king. h5, okay. But now let's say knight e3. This is so loose.
Oh,
the king
h5,
is gonna be
oof.
permanently weak.
Yep, definitely playing kind of rope-a-dope strategy here. Nepo just trying to urge Svidler to push his pawns and then find an opening somewhere. And it's kind of working. Working.
Knight e3 now. Again, like this is loose, your king is weak. There's also ideas like queen a4, you know, hitting this in lines, maybe queen b3, you know, after a trade. Hitting b7, hitting d5. And look at the time. Nepo now has a 3.5 minute advantage. I'm gonna make a very hot take here. I think Nepo's gonna win the game just because of the time.
Yeah, objectively, black should be completely fine. Just put maybe he can find a good setup. Rook, you know, double up the rooks in the center, maybe rook e5, other than this f4. But, you know, with the time situation, there are tricks everywhere.
Rook 88. Nepo keeping up the pace. Still has a 3.5 minute advantage. What is Svidler gonna do? Maybe like rook d8. There it is. Okay, now is
one question. If he just sits, rook d8, and just sits, doesn't change anything. What is
no? Goes b5. Now the one, I don't know. It could have its drawbacks to go for a direct approach, but at least he's complicating the position, which is always tough to deal with when you're low on time.
Queen e5?
3 minutes, and again, like the thing is, if Svidler was playing as if this was a 3 minute game, there would be chances to hold, but he's still playing like it's rapid, and that's I think the big problem here, because he's spending like 10 seconds on every move. He's not finding the pace. 240. You gotta go.
But if you force a queen trade, it's much simpler to play, right?
Right. So what were you saying? Queen c5?
Yeah, I just want to trade queens, even if it comes at the cost of weakening my structure or whatever.
But even after queen c5, I think again, like white equalizes now and has the time advantage. But you have the time advantage. Okay, anyway, queen e5 played. Okay, queen a4 now is definitely gonna be played here.
I would trade queens, even if it means losing some advantage, because keeping the queens on with no time is harder.
But now bishop,
right?
You have to go bishop
this
f7.
Is what I wanted to avoid. With queen c5 would have avoided this, right? Because
right, yeah. But takes and queen takes b6. I mean, the game is equal, but you're down 4 minutes with no increment. I mean, yeah, take on b6. Rook d2 though. Rook d2. If black gets an attack against the white king, that's what you want. Right, because then there's possibilities of maybe a perpetual or something of that nature. Rook c1 by Nepo. He's trying to bring the rook into the game as well.
Yeah. Just the fact the queens are on the board, I think this is a huge thing.
Yeah. Queen b8 maybe, or rook d2. Because, I mean, you always have queen e6. No, but then rook e7. Just to show real quick, like this is very tricky. Ah, but wait, your rook defense. Okay, let's see what Fiddler's gonna do. He just dropped below 2 minutes. Again, like the time, this advantage is only opening up more and more.
So you think Swidler is going to play the rook d2 and queen e6 maneuver? Hit the...
Perhaps.
But
1.5 minutes. He's got to move here. I don't see it. I don't see it happening. He's not finding the pace. And again, Svidler is not Danya, right? He's not a bullet. He's gonna lose. Rook d2 played a good move. Now the one thing is that how can Nepo continue the game? That is a big question. If you go rook c7, queen e6, there we have it. If rook e7, you take here, and you cannot. I think if you trade down, black should be able to make moves quickly to make at least a draw, right? Okay, we have all of that on the board.
Yeah,
White can
definitely
take
not
here.
trade queens.
Can you take an f2? I think you can, and again, then it feels like you might be getting close to a perpetual or something like that. 1 minute and 17 seconds.
Take on at b6 here. Yeah, I think he's gonna take on b6. He has to.
Right. Yeah. Now. Yeah, I think he has to go for.
With queen c7, rook f2, queen g3, or knight f5.
No, but then rook f7 maybe, no? Or actually, I think that's also good because you only you just need to trade everything. And he's taken on f2. Big moment now. Is Nepo gonna take here? But I think the problem is after all these trades, you should be able to eliminate all of white's pawns, right? So he played queen g3, rook e2. This is gonna be an absolute nail biter.
What's the position on the board? The rook e2 position.
Okay, you have to keep it complicated with someone like king h2. Monka. 1 minute though for Svidler. How many?
So Nepo refused to go into that position with rook f7.
Right, because then it feels like black should be able to trade off all of the pawns. I don't like this at all. I don't like this at all. I don't know what just happened. But why would he sack the rook?
Why did he go up? Why did he do that?
I don't know.
You want to keep it simple at the cost of just a fortress, kind of?
I mean, you do get your pawn to b3. And there it is. And you can never move your queen because then you allow this.
Yeah, he wants a solid position where he can just move back and forth.
Queen g3, tricky move. So white's idea is he wants to keep this queen on this diagonal to make sure black never has a perpetual. 50 seconds for Svidler.
Oh, it's a nail biter.
I don't think he's gonna make it. Queen c3. But But how does white keep the game going? b2.
Yeah.
Queen c2. Great move defending this. Okay, wait, what just happened?
Wants to stop the pawn and the perpetual at the same time.
And Svidler now has found the pace. The king is, by the way, sitting pretty safe here on g6, I should point out. King g6. Oh, here's the thing. Nepo can always put his queen on b8, right? Stopping the checks and controlling the pawn. Okay, 43 seconds. Bishop c4. Okay. But again, how can Nepo create a trick here? Maybe like rook b7, try to sneak in checkmating attack. Okay, rook b6 played. Maybe
Does
what you
Black
can
play B2?
do...
When he has a chance to play B2, is he gonna play B2?
But then
Or
queen
is that a
B8.
blunder?
King F5. Okay, if he gets a move, he wants to go queen E5. Because again, then he should be able to trade everything off quickly. It looks tricky though with the king out here.
Oh, that's brave.
Okay, so he gave a check, back to G6, King C7, and King F5 again. Again, Queen E5 would win the game, so to speak. Okay, Rook C6, B2. Oh wait, what just happened? Queen H7, King F4. Okay. Is check already a threefold? I don't think so, but maybe you can even go king down. It's gonna be extremely close. Peter is doing well, but he's got 27 seconds.
The king on F4.
Again, you cannot allow this check. So I think Nepo has to give a check. It's his only move, right? He's probably checking, is that a threefold? Let's check.
Queen C7.
One, I don't think it is. Right, unless I'm crazy. No, it's not, and you have to play it. You cannot allow Queen G3. Queen G3, it's game over. Oh, here comes the king. He went to B1. Okay, so this would only be one check. King E3 by Svidler. He wants to come up with the king. Okay, wait, what just happened? Queen G1 check, King D2, and Rook D6. King C2 though, the king should be sitting safe here, but 14 seconds, you gotta move. Bishop D, or 17 seconds, Queen F2. King down, I guess, but 13 seconds, I don't think he's gonna make it. No.
You don't think so?
No, he's gonna get Bishop C2 with 15 seconds, but a perpetual is so far. And also, you're not queening this pawn anytime soon. No, he's not gonna make it.
King's getting in the way, right?
12 seconds. White can't take this pawn over here. You're not gonna make it, no. Okay, Queen C1. That's a huge move. It's a huge move, trying to trade off everything. You have to go for it. Queen C1, but no. Wait, I think the board is lagging. Okay.
A bit, yeah.
Yeah, but it seems like he is down a second, and then he's just not gonna make it.
Oh man.
He might even lose at this point, and
is this flagged or is it just a lag?
And he has flagged. Very sad chat. Svidler played a good game, but just a little bit too slow. And Nepo wins the match and moves on to the final 16. I mean, time is a part of chess, and we see that here very clearly, right? Especially if there's no increment.
Yeah. Do you think he regrets giving up his rook then? Because he had a good position. He didn't have to give up this rook for the knight on.
I think that was a big mistake, yeah. Right? And he played it almost instantly. Again, he was worried about some knight f5 jumps, but at this point, it's probably difficult for White to keep the game going. Right? And you only need to make a draw with Black. I wonder, can you play... Maybe you can even go b4. And what is White gonna do? White can maybe make a draw at some point. And yeah, as soon as they got to this position, it just felt so tough with the time. I think Svidler he speeded up way too late. Right, like here spending 9 seconds on King F5. I like the fact that he got the king up, but again, he's spending so much time. From 27 to 22.
Yeah.
But apparently he had a win here. If Black goes King E2, White is lost. Because your king is boxed in. I guess there's nothing you can do by checking here. Had he played this, I think there would have been a chance. But as the game went on, I think there's just no chance with the time situation.
Yeah, Nepo is definitely he's a hustler. He's good at, he can't get low on time against someone like that. He will create chances out of thin air. As he did.
He cannot do that. So yeah, very tough loss for Svidler. Yeah. I think nobody wanted to see him lose like this.
Someone's saying show the win here for Black for the full line.
Well, it's difficult for White to make a move in the first place. But let's say he goes... Because there's no checks. Right, but let's say you go... Queen B...
Yeah, how...
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
Move here.
Yeah, propose a move. Let's start with that.
Queen b1 or king h1. I'm not sure.
Okay, so let's say queen b1, bishop d5. Make another move. Okay, I'm gonna propose a better one, like rook b7, right, to check here. But now apparently check and bishop d5. And I think you should be able to at least draw this game, right?
That's a beautifully placed bishop and queen in the middle.
Yeah.
And the king is somehow dominating the other queen. It's a really strange construction, but and is the next move going to be queen g3 or something, or queen c3?
I think queen g3 because you hit this, you hit this.
Yeah.
Also keep in mind that if black gets rid of all the pawns, he should be drawing, but again, it's just you're just not going to make it. I'm sorry, like when they got to a position like this with 21 seconds, Fiedler was not finding the pace, it seemed. And you're just not going to make it if your opponent has 2 minutes. Because with 2 minutes, your opponent can still think of tricky moves, right? Like rook a6, threatening a checkmate over here, giving some checks, draining your clock a little bit, picking up this pawn, and you're down to 9 seconds. I think, though, how crazy it may sound, after queen c1, there's still a chance. Because how is white going to keep the game going here?
Definitely should have traded queens at some point, even now.
Right, because let's say after trade, computer saying this is a draw, but let's say I go king c2. Right, my plan is very easy. I want to go b2, move the bishop, then get rid of the last pawn somehow, and make the draw. I think there's still a chance here. Just to illustrate, like let's say you go here, we go b2, you take here, bishop a2. And eventually it's going to come down to something like this. And here you can pre-move a couple moves, and you should be able to get rid of the last pawns, right?
Wait, why not just g3 here?
For white?
Yeah.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, black is getting rid of all the pawns.
Right.
Right, you take, then you pre-move king e4, king f5, maybe even back here, and you should be able to make this, I think. Again, it's not a given. Especially if white starts being annoying. But yeah, very tough loss for Fiedler. So just to recap everything that happened today, Hikaru won a very one-sided match. He won 2.5.
Very one-sided, absolutely.
Then Levon won 3-1 against Maxim Madlikov, and Nepo wins this dramatic tiebreaker against Peter Fiedler, and they all move on to the final 16. No, I am not drunk. I don't know why you made that assumption.
It's okay, it's just more.
Alright, well, it happens. But yeah, I think, Gary, I think with all that being said and done, I think we're probably just gonna call it a day. It was great fun commentating with you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's my first time. So we had some couple of tech things, but I really enjoyed it, and it was nice to talk to the chat. Great games by Hikaru. Really nice ending by Nepo, just showing some skills on how to flag, essentially, in Armageddon.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a part of the game. So yeah, guys, hope you all enjoyed our coverage. If you did, make sure to give Gary a follow. Type an ! hosts. They will give you our channels. Like, make sure to give him a follow. Make sure to give me
What's happening tomorrow?
Oh, so tomorrow is the Lee Chess World Championship qualifier for Chess 960. Hikaru will be starting out in the semis against Sam Sevian. So tough matchup, but he should be the favorite. But yeah, guys, make sure to tune in for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And it's going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Right, so 1 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central European, 10 a.m. Pacific. Make sure to check in. Alright, but with all that being said and done, you guys, we are going to be calling it a day. And we look forward to seeing you guys very, very soon.
Yep. Have a great day, everyone.